You're not going live on Scotty's channel?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it just popped up. Yeah, it just popped up.
Oh man. Man, y'all coaches are early, coach. Y'all coaches are men that's on time. I like that. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coach's Corner. I'm the co-host, Rocky Miller, and along with the Rattler himself.
Hey, just a HBCU fan, just enjoying life, man. It's almost football season.
We got a lot going on the highest of 7 hills. So I got to ask you, Coach. I got to ask you, Campbell, how are things going over there?
No. We gonna say that. We gonna have a whole segment. Let's just not waste. People are gonna come for that. We got coaches. We gonna talk about. We gonna have the rest of the show for that. We really gonna get deep, dive deep into that. Absolutely.
All right. So with no further ado, hey, look at here. The man, hey, that's why all our viewers weren't here. Let's get our viewers here. Once we bring the man himself, Johnny Cole, in, we know all our viewers will come now. Once they see Coach, then they ain't paying no attention to me and Campbell. What's up, Coach?
What's going on, man? Shoot, boy, I tell you what, 6 o'clock rolled up so fast out here in the sunny city of Arizona, but man, Jesus, what's going on, man? I was in a production meeting this morning, Mr. Campbell.
All right, that's what I want to hear.
And one of these cats, man, was a Florida A&M guy. He kind of came at me a little foul, like, yeah, what's wrong with Florida A&M? And then, of course, it came out with the news about the news on the athletic director, which I already had read that.
Right.
I'm just like, wow. That kind of threw me, Mr. Campbell.
Hey, man, we got a whole second half of the show that we can talk about that. That's why I'm excited, man. We got the coaches up front, and we can talk about FAMU in the back.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's bring.
And matter of fact, you guys, let's put our best on because we do have the HBCU Go production team. Some of them are coming and watching us as we go about our business. So let's go. Let's get this going. Let's go.
All right, Coach. Coach, who did you schedule first? I believe you had Coach Keaton first. We got both coaches ready to go. So
Coach
whenever
Brown.
you had Coach Brown first?
Yes.
Okay. My bad. I ain't Coach Keaton. I was gonna bring you up first, but Coach Brown has first dibs, and we gonna interview Coach Brown, and then we're gonna get to you, Coach Keaton. I appreciate your patience.
Tell Coach Keaton because he told me that they had he had to get home and get himself set up. But I guess he made special arrangements for us.
Absolutely, he did. With no further ado, Coach, you want to welcome our next coach up?
Yeah, Coach has been down to Lane College for the last 3.5, 4 years and have done a great job of staying steady. You know, he hadn't got over the hump yet. And I know he know what I'm talking about. Grounded Knight, come from a good tree. Melvin Spears, Doug Williams. I think he's a guy that's going to be somebody that's going to raise up in our conference, especially the SWAC conference. And with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Coach Brown from the Lane College Dragons.
Coach, what's going on? How you guys doing? HBCU Football Coach's Corner. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Good, Coach. I tell you what, you got HBCU Go kind of chiming in and seeing, about SIAC football. Again, you're about to start another year, and we're looking forward to and watching Lane College football and keeping in touch with what you guys doing over here. You know, Coach, you just in the middle now of summer practice and getting close to opening day. How you feel about your football team?
Well, I told the guys we got 25 days in the wake up. So it's really starting to hit home and register with them. You starting to get that. Coach, my body hurting. I'm getting tired. We need more treatment. Where the ice tubs at? I told them this the part of the year where you got to push through all that and be mentally tough, just as well as physically tough. With school has started this week, so we back to our basic routine of lifting 2 to 3 times a week, and then practicing 4 days, and then giving them 2 days off a week. So we get in the routine at the same time. We're still installing, and we're probably about 10 to 12 days out before we start game planning for Jackson State.
Yeah, Coach, it would be remiss, and I want to go back, and maybe I might have should have started the show out with Jacobe Jones, who played at Lane College, who is the only player, and correct me if I'm wrong, since I've been gone, have been drafted, especially as high as he went 3rd round. Passed away a couple weeks ago, and he only didn't get drafted. He played in the Super Bowl. Only Lane College player to ever do that. He's got so many firsts. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. He made first team wide receiver, first team kick returner, first team punt returner, offensive player of the year, and the SAIC player of the year. It'd be remiss. I know he played on your staff, he coached on your staff, and he played for me, and I know we were able to kind of talk during the funeral, but if you want to say a couple of things about him, because of course we got Dragon fans watching as well.
Well, most definitely. First of all, me and Jacobe were very close. We was good friends. We met in 2018 when AD Derrick Burrows, which was the head coach, he hired us at the same time that February during recruiting time when he was recruiting players, doing signing day. We started off on the same staff. I was the offensive coordinator. It was Jacobe's first time coaching college football, coaching, really period. And, kind of showed him the ropes and, this is how you do it. And, he knew a lot of the guys that I had been around when I got to talking about the Coach Spears and Doug Williams and Michael Roach, with him being from Louisiana, he know exactly who all those guys was. So we immediately connected, and then he found out me and you knew each other. That even made it even better. But outside of football, man, Jacobe was an outstanding friend to me, as to a lot of people. Was a young man who was always brought energy in the room, was always positive, would give you the shirt off his back. His mama was also deeply involved in his life with everything he did. His son was always with him when he had a chance. It's so many stories I can tell you about. Most people don't know Jacobe was contracted with Jordan. So every week he'll sit right in front of the gym, and FedEx will pull up with tennis shoes. Right. I say, man, what you doing? He say, Coach, I can't wear all these shoes. He would just give them to the students every week.
Right.
Every week, Coach. If they wore his size, he gave them to them. So that's just how big his heart was, and he loved Lane College. And still, when he left to coach at other schools, he still called me about, hey, Coach, I see a player that you can get in school in Lane College. I need you to go after. Hey, he a top alumni here. I had to make the phone call, So, me and his mom been in contact since everything's been going on, and just want to say he's dearly missed, and she gave us permission to dedicate this season to Jacobe. So we're going to have hashtag do it for two, because he was number 2 here at Lane College, man. And that was my brother, and it was bigger than just football. It was a friendship, and he was friends to a lot of people, and he's going to be greatly and dearly missed.
Right. Well, ain't no question he was very dear to me. And, we were very, very close. And actually, me, you, and him spoke a couple days before. But I hope Lane College is planning to really, really, really do something on that campus where people will remember him forever. You know, you guys been playing over 100 years of football. So as he would say, Coach, let's go talk some football. So, Coach, where are you at? If you had to say what was the strongest part of your team right now, is it offense or defense? And of course, with your returning guys.
To be the honest, truly honest, I'm a football coach. I'm a head coach. To be honest with you, right now, my offensive line is my strength right now. My O-line is my strength. Returning 4 out of 5 starters from last year that blocked for Kylan Dew, who's on the 2024 Black College watch list. Is one of the top players. If you go look at it, he's number 14 right now. So our strong suit right now is our run game, is our offensive line. The next thing will be the defensive transfers that we got in. We had an opportunity this spring to go out and go to Mississippi and really get a return on the investment of being in Mississippi. You know, and they came here and they've stuck with us, and we're gonna be a lot older and mature. You know, if you paid attention to us last season, we had 5 ball games we lost in the fourth quarter by single scores. So that's always positive, you know, and a lot of those kids that was out there playing last year, the year before, they wasn't the ones playing. So that kind of put them in a different situation out there. You know, the first year we were 7-4, 6-4, two touchdowns away from being in the championship game that first year in 21. Then 22, we come back and we like 8 points, and we went 5-5. And this past year, with all those seniors being gone, we was 2-8. But again, we lost 5 ball games by single scores, 2 by 3, 2 by 6, and 1 by 7. So I'm very excited about Lane College football and where we are right now in the transition of the keep moving this program forward.
You know, Coach, I've been keeping up with you, and man, Coach, you got to go get a rabbit's foot or a good luck charm, because, Coach, you one of the coaches, man. You must have some real headaches, because, well, you lose some close games. Not one a season. You lose 3 or 4 close ones a season. Man, you right. Look, you must be really stressed, Coach, because, wow, man. But, Coach, this might be the year, man. This might be the year. Yeah, guys, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead, Coach.
We stand humble and we just working, you know. And them close games don't do nothing but build character. And you know, sometimes you can want something so much that you want it too much, you put yourself in the way and just don't let the Lord do what He want to do. You know, so I've taken the mindset of letting go and let God handle it. And you know, the ones that was close we lost, I'm just gonna put it in His hands. You know, because I've been on the other side, being at Grambling, being at Alabama State, being at Shaw University with Ashbury, where we just walked through there and it didn't matter who it was. We knew out the gate we're going to score 40 points. Now, try to outscore. You know, now it's at the point where you can be up by 21, then you're down by 10, you know, because of the immaturity out there on the field. So, you know, football ain't changed. Football ain't changed. RPO is still triple option, Coach. However you cut it up.
How you ever cut it up, Coach?
Hey, look, it's still the wing.
You still reading the end-man of line of scrimmage, Coach. You still reading the end-man of line of scrimmage.
Midline is still midline, whether you under the center or you in the gun. Motion is motion. Trips is trips. Quads is quads. So, you know, when you break it down like that and the kids understand that, I mean, now you really teaching football. You know, can you get on that board and draw 22 people up and explain each person what they do in each play? That's how we teach football here at Lane College. I know some guys don't do it like that, but the best way for our kids to understand ball, they got to show me they can do it. You know, I'm an engineer by nature, and I'm a teacher, you know, so you got to show me.
Hey, Coach Brown, my name is Rocky, and I want to ask you a couple questions here. Your career, your head coaching career at Lane got off to a pretty promising start, right? Your first 2 years, you were very, very competitive. Last year, you were competitive. However, you didn't get the results, you know, you would want coming in at 2-8. Can you tell us
Right.
where your program is in its development and what your expectations are for this upcoming season?
Well, the expectation is always championship. You know, I got 6 or 7 on right now, and I don't want to sell the kids here at Lane College short just talking about going out competing, winning the game. So compete ain't a part of what we talk about. It's about finishing, start fast and finish strong. And where we're at right now, I had at least 6 guys that graduated, that could have left and went somewhere else, that came back. So that's a big plus. And they was a part of them games where they was in them positions and didn't make those plays. And then I had some kids that was here that had another year that I had took care of since they was 18 years old and they just walked out the door on me. You know, so it's just a part of development, a part of the new trend with this transfer portal that give kids options, which I think is outstanding for, you know, somebody that feel like they want to go somewhere else. But on the back end, it hurts us, but because we don't have that continuity. But where we are right now as a program, we're staying positive. We have a solid foundation. Uh, have a group of leaders that's been here at Lane College, been playing, going into their 4th year, that can handle the locker room stuff up, you know. And if something goes on or something going on, they can get it straight before it get to me. So that's the maturity level we're at right now on our football team.
And my next question I want to ask you is, you know, being at HBCUs, coaches, we all know that it's a different animal. For what I've come to understand.
Correct.
You know, at Lane College, what is your biggest challenge as a coach?
Well, I mean, you just said it. Basically, resources. You know, having full funded. You know, we're not a full funded scholarship football program. And, you know, you look at the teams that's been winning consistently in this conference, they have all 36 scholarships and had a capability of giving back Pell Grants. Well, here at Lane College, we only have half of that amount, and we can't give back Pell Grants because we had to use that to help pay for their school with the scholarship money we do have. And I see Coach Cole laughing because he knows exactly what I'm talking about, you know, with him being here also. So that's our biggest challenge. You know, we're gonna have you know what we need, but we don't have everything we should have in development process as far as coaching staff, support staff, equipment. You know, like people have the 2 and 3 football fields they can practice on, where offense can be on one field, defense can be on another field. Uh, have enough support staff to have the different multiple camera angles at practice. You know, that makes a difference too. You know, if you can't get your end zone or your draw and all that kind of stuff, I mean, those are kind of the things that we run into, and it boils down to resources and manpower. And not having a full load of scholarships means I can have a solid 22 on offensive defense, a solid 22 on special teams, but after that, where do we go?
Coach, I guess I can piggyback on what you said. With the limited number of scholarships, what is your recruiting philosophy about who do you offer? When do you bring them on? Does a kid have to earn aid in the program? What is your philosophy as far as recruiting? And then how is a kid rewarded in your program?
Well, I'm old school. Regardless of where I go, I'm gonna recruit the best kid possible. Regardless if he got this offer, that offer, whatever. I'm gonna recruit the best kid possible for our program. Uh, and then I just let them know straight up. I can't pay $19,400 for you to come to school, but this is what I can do for you. You know, and a kid either accepts that or they don't. You know, and sometimes they try to play us like negotiating like they got an agent. Well, this school offered me this much money. I say, well, that's my final number. You know, good luck to you. Then you have some kids that walk on, that stay committed to the program and show some promise. And then after they go through a year or so in your program and they being committed, you find a way to get them some money. You know, It's not going to be a $10,000 deal. It might be $5,000, but it's more than what they had the year before. So I'm pretty fair when it comes down to that, because I know everybody that's out there working deserves to have something.
So how many kids do you have on the field right now, Coach?
91.
Wow. And you have less than 20 scholarships right now.
Yes, sir.
Coach, that's a testament to you bringing guys on your program that really love the game, Coach. They love the game and have to be there. And that's one of the things about being at a small school, a D2 school, is you have guys there that really love football. And you guys, as coaches, I'm sure you guys are understand what a privilege that is to coach those kind of guys.
Yeah, let me add to that. And I know we've had a lot of head coaches that came on our show, and contributed Coach Brown, the hard work and stuff that he's put in, and he's prepared to go to the next level. Yesterday we were talking about them buddy deals, and we also talk about diamond in the rough, about giving our job. This guy we're talking to now is a Black college HBCU graduate who's been up under a tree of Doug Williams, Melvin Spears. These guys are national championship coaches that's ready for those opportunities. And that's why he knows, and I know, we don't talk about recruiting. You get these guys that coming from the outside, Coach Campbell and Rocky, and they get to these Division I schools. I can name some coaches that went there, and they don't have success, and then they start throwing black schools underneath the bus. Well, I didn't have no recruiting money. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. This is, Coach, this is what we live with. You know what I mean? We make lemonade. Lemonade out of sour lemons. You know what I'm saying? So we understand that, man. And that's why Coach Brown, I love him, man. He knows that. That's why anytime I get an opportunity to present him to our fans and to HBCU and just the football world, period, man. This cat is ready to roll. So I'll turn it over to you, Steve.
Coach, we appreciate you having you on, Coach Brown. What I'm excited about, when I talk to the coaches, I like to talk about how they put their teams together in the recruiting. Now, I'm going to ask you something kind of in reverse. Now, we know the transfer portal is a big thing in college now, and players and player movement. But what has affected what I've noticed and what I've heard from a lot of coaches is that now they're going to the portal getting players that already have been in college, right? And the high school players don't get the opportunity. What I saw with you is that you recruited a lot of high school seniors. So are you seeing where, hey, you know what, those seniors, high school players before that maybe you couldn't get a chance to recruit, now because of the transfer portal, now you have the opportunity to offer them scholarships? Because I saw that you offered, it looks like you brought 9 JUCOs in and 14 high school seniors. Can you kind of talk about the recruiting class a little bit?
Well, first I want to say, take my hat off to my coaching staff for going out identifying these young men. Coach Tommy Lewis, my assistant head coach, D coordinator, Sean Brown, my offensive coordinator, John Carter, who played for me at Grambling on one of the championship teams. Coach Cogman is our special team coordinator. Keyshawn Sweeney, who I just hired, played at Jackson State and Alcorn as an offensive lineman. Then Coach PJ Jack has been coaching quarterbacks at all these Elite 11 programs. So I just take my hat off for those guys having connections and relationships around the country. Now, the signing class, one thing we said when we walked off that field after winning against Savannah State in overtime, we had a meeting. I said, we got to go get us some older guys for mid-years ready to come in, and then we can develop them right now. So in the midst of recruiting our high school kids, so we had an opportunity to make contact, go to some Mississippi JUCOs, and come back with some fruit, and they've been good and very helpful to us. The other part of your question is about being able to get the high school kid that's being looked over. I'm never going to stop recruiting a high school kid. I really believe that kid has worked all their life since they were 7, 8 years old and deserves an opportunity to get offered a college scholarship somewhere if they're worthy of the scholarship. And it's good for us that the Power 5 mindsets right now and FCS are saying, hey, we just gonna recruit out the portal. That's great for me. You know, I've had kids that have came here for 2 years, and basically the transition is they're using D2 as the new JUCO. Basically, that's what they're doing. Coming in, getting developed by a program like ours, and then when somebody else has been evaluating their film through Huddle, Instagram, or Twitter, they call them up after the season and say, "Hey, I got a scholarship over you at this FCS school." Whether they play or not, they feel like they're gonna bet on themselves and they leave. You know, we had a kid 2 years ago, my starting right tackle that started for me that we developed since 2021. He decided after the 2022 season that he wants to get in the transfer portal. Well, he went and started at Colorado State. So I don't feel bad about our coaching when that happens with kids. We've had kids leave and go to Norfolk State. You know, we've had kids leave and go to Tennessee State. So, I mean, the new age of how it is right now, really after 2 years, especially when you're dealing with a true freshman, if they come to you and say they're going to transfer, hey, what can you do? You know, and that's just the landscape of what we're in right now. But no, I truly love still having those relationships with those high school coaches on a year in, a week out basis.
All right, I'm gonna ask you one follow-up question, Coach. Now, what I did see, I see you, hey man, planting your flag in the state of Mississippi. Is that part of your recruiting strategy? Because the state of Mississippi per capita has a lot of college football players, and you see a lot of talent, but it's close. Lane is very close to Memphis, close to Mississippi, where they can go home and their families can see them play. So is that part of your strategy also? Going to the state of Mississippi, get a lot of those players.
Well, Mississippi. Even when I was at Grambling, when I was at Alabama State, when I was at Texas Southern, and especially when I was at Shaw University, them JUCOs have been good to us. You know, so I'm very familiar. My staff is very familiar with recruiting in the state of Mississippi. I mean, got bloodline connections from Houston, Texas, to Dallas, to North Louisiana, Shreveport, Monroe, New Orleans, Baton Rouge. I mean, Huntsville, Alabama, to Birmingham, to Mobile, to Montgomery, to all parts of Georgia, to Florida. I mean, if you look at our roster, we have young men from all over. And if you go back and if you knew the true story of each one of them, it's really probably because we have a relationship with somebody in that area, whether it's alumni or a coach or a teammate or somebody that we used to coach with or used to play with that helps us out with these young men.
Let me ask you this, Coach. You talk about the state of Mississippi and how you've recruited there and you've been very effective. Do you look at, because when I first looked at your schedule, and this is in reference to your schedule, there was one game in your schedule that stuck out to me. And I'm like, why would Coach schedule that game? Are you really, what you're ultimately doing is rewarding the guys from Mississippi on your team with an opportunity to play the blue blood program of Jackson State? Is that what you see that game as an opportunity to reward those guys and play a game back at home?
Well, we actually signed that contract with me and AD Burroughs actually signed that contract with Jackson State and AD Robertson and TC probably November last year. You know, so with us telling them, hey, you got an opportunity to come back home and play, we use that to help recruit. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times the kid asks questions outside of what jersey number I'm gonna wear and all that kind of stuff. They ask questions like, Coach, who going to schedule for next year? I don't see your schedule out. Well, when we start telling them we got Jackson State, you know, on the schedule, a lot of kids started having an open ear, and some of them have a real chip on their shoulder because I have a lot of guys that's, especially my two running backs. One was offered by Jackson State in the 11th grade. That never came through, and one had signed with Jackson State and got there and wasn't accepted. And they've been here with us. And the other kids that we have on the team, they were like, Coach, I'm right in their backyard. I went to a JUCO here, they ain't even give me a look. I say, well, hey, that's a personal thing for you to deal with, you know. So it helped that we did have him for those Mississippi kids.
Yeah. Well, let me make one thing. One of our viewers was saying about Fred Lane. We don't want to negate Fred Lane, who was a running back, finished from Lane. The difference between him and Jacobe wasn't about their playing ability. Jacobe was the only one that got drafted. Fred Lane went free agency. So I just wanted to add that out there to answer that question.
Right.
Coach, it seems like, huh? No, it seems like, Coach, you and let the fans know you're no stranger to these schools, your Jackson States and all of them, just as a player because you played in the SWAC. But you also ain't afraid because you took on Tennessee State Division I AA Tigers a year ago, and you beat them on their home field. So yes. Coach, walk us through that. Walkers, I guess that's also going to be your pregame as well when you meet the Tigers at Jackson State.
Well, that was just like one of them weeks. Actually, that year, Jackson State, the year Coach Sanders was there, his last year, they wanted to play us, and they kept calling. Ashley kept calling my AD kept calling me. And every time we had the conversation, Jackson State kept going up on the money. And Coach was AD Burrows, if you notice, said, man, they finna give us this much money to play. I said, Coach, I'm not taking these boys over there to play a Power 5 team that should be playing Alabama, Georgia or somebody. I say, what kind of sense does that make? So it got to the point where my president sees me at a baseball game. My two sons was on the baseball team their freshman year. And he said, Coach, can you tell me what is really going on? And I broke it down to the president like that. I said, I see what y'all saying about the check, but we have so many scholarships. They got everything, all of them above. Plus they got Power 5 transfers. I say, think about that. And then we was going to play them in the middle of our season in October. That's the part that they want to play us right in the middle of our season, which was a homecoming or something for them. I told them I don't sit well with that. So fast forward 2 weeks later, Tennessee State calls. Tennessee State said, we're going to pay you X amount of money to come right up the road. AD Burrow say, I say, I take that one. So that's basically how the off the field went. Now, mentally throughout the week, it was one of those practices that we had, them 4 practices where we was locked in, was focused. Guys was like, really, Coach didn't let us play Jackson State, but we finna show them we should have played Jackson State. So that was kind of their mindset and their attitude. And one of the scouting films that we watched during that week was the Heritage Bowl. And we broke that film down. And the kids talking about, see, we could have did that. We could have did that. I said, well, show me Saturday. And lo and behold, the Lord was good to us. We made enough plays to get us into overtime, and they tried to take it from us right there at the end. And we was on the 1.5 yard line, and I put the ball in the belly of my son, and he ran it in, and everything else is history. It was total jubilation. I mean, he had one of those days where he scored 3 touchdowns, which is nothing uncommon doing that since he was 7 years old. So, it was just one of those days where we got blessed. Our defense played lights out. Our offensive line was helping their defensive line. And I was just like, wow, they really want it. And you felt it. It was almost like I didn't have to give a motivational speech. It was like, y'all know what we here for. Let's get it done. And I told them, being from Graham, I've been whooping Tennessee State.
Wow. Coach, one of our viewers talked about scholarships. I know I had 7 scholarships, Coach, and the tuition was only $13,000 then. And I ended up having like 44 people on money. So I had a formula, you know, and it was back then. What is your formula? Like you said, you know, you got to, you can, if you offer, how many scholarships you say, Coach? You
Coach,
got,
right
they
now
giving you this year?
21, Coach.
21, and you can have 36. So you short 15.
Yes, sir.
So you got to make that up. What is a breakdown of one of your scholarships, so people that's watching can understand how you do it, you know, to a certain degree?
Your value is position and talent. All right, position and talent. Obviously, the quarterback and the big boys gonna get a little bit more money than everybody else. All right. You know, you got to have some specialists. So the kickers, they gonna be kind of like, even especially if they out of state, they gonna be up there at the top of the list because now some of these kids don't get no Pell Grant. So my basic breakdown, let's just say if I offer Coach Cole $10,000
I'm the
and you
quarterback
qualify,
now.
you the quarterback. Hey, but
I'm
look,
the QB coach.
you an incoming freshman. Now listen to me, get real good now. Right now, Pep, listen, the school costs $19,400. Now I'm trying to do my best to get you to zero balance. So now your Pell Grant is $7,000. Man, we at 17,000 already, Coach. That sounds real good to your parents, don't it? So then you kick in a HBCU scholarship, or you kick in a if you
Hey, Coach,
from
I'm homegrown. I'm from Tennessee. I'm
Coach, you gonna
homegrown.
get it all, Coach. Oh, you from the state of Tennessee. You're gonna get
That's right.
TSAP, you're gonna get
That's
that
right.
money
That's
from
right.
the lottery. And guess
That's
what?
right.
You pay for, you got a zero balance going to school, and your mama jumping up and down because she ain't got to do nothing but get you here.
And then
And
she
that
go to
cover your,
church and say, I'm on a full ride.
I'm on a full ride. That's what they gonna say, Coach. So that's kind of a breakdown of how we do it here at Lane College. And you know, we got to package the guys, man, the best way we can, you know.
Can,
And some
can,
Go ahead.
can I ask this, Coach?
Yeah.
And take this time too to let the alumni understand why giving money is important.
Well, giving money not only helps the university, I mean our college, but it helps the football program. And you know, when you give money, if you earmark it for a certain entity, that money has to be used for that. And if I know I can go across campus and they say, well, coach, in your alumni giving budget or whatever, you have X, Y, you know, you got a surplus of $30,000. Well, I can use that money to help buy equipment like jug machines, a sled, a shoe, footballs, you know. And some people say, well, shouldn't the school be paying for it? Well, the school is only going to pay the budget, but it's things that happen outside of the budget, like a new washing machine when it break down that you didn't budget for the year. I mean, them things cost $21,000. I just looked at one today, you know. So it helps us in that aspect. Being out on the road, and the kids need an extra meal to eat while you traveling back, you know, because you give them the post game meal, and then when we traveling back from 8 or 9 hours away, they gonna get hungry again. You know, kind of like having you got that little slush fund to pull from to be able to do those kind of things. And then you have emergencies when kids have things they go on back home, and you might can't wait for a check to get cut for the school. You can just go straight to your account and get it. And hey, this is what this from the alumni XYZ, you know. So it's a lot of ways that money is very useful for these young men.
Hey, Coach, I wanna switch gears a little bit, because one thing in this conversation I picked up, you're a football guy, Coach.
Yes, sir.
You sound like a guy that came in this world playing football, and you gonna leave this world somehow connected to football. and specifically HBCU football, Coach.
Yeah.
How do you feel about you say you beat TSU and Eddie George a couple years ago at home? What do you think about these NFL players coming into the HBCU space, getting jobs with no previous coaching experience and going right to the top position with, and being welcomed by the alumni and the administration?
Well, I don't want to take anything from the NFL players in their career, but from an administration standpoint, they're looking at the resources that it can help bring to the school. That name is going to help bring more money to that school than a Vyron Brown will at this point. You see what I'm saying? That name has sponsorships behind it. That name has NFL ties and connections to it. So they our schools are making business decisions basically when that was going on. I didn't take it real personally. I just said to myself, I just got to do better and keep branding, marketing myself, But it's just one of them things where the trustee committee, the board, or what have you, they made a business decision, and that's just the way I look at it.
So Coach, you don't look, that's quite a positive approach to it. But what we are seeing, Coach, in some cases when they do that, it's not equating to wins. Are you surprised at that part of it?
No, nor, let me piggyback, nor the funding. Let's get that straight. The only one who's really done it is Deion Sanders. So, yeah, go ahead, Coach.
Well, I look at it from this standpoint, and I know it's different because he played at Grambling. When Coach Williams came back, because I was in Eddie Robinson's last recruiting class. When Coach Williams came, that was my freshman year, so I was a red shirt prop 48. And when he came back, the whole energy of the campus and the community changed. But he was alumni of Grambling. He was a black HBCU guy. So for us, that seeing him we seen him all the time, whether it was on TV or the Bayou Classic. And I believe that back then led to this trend that's going on right now. The only difference is the guys right now are not alumni of the HBCU family, and like I say, the administration are making business decisions, and I'm a positive person. I don't get on the negative side, and it is what it is.
Well, I don't want to answer that because I'm on the outside.
We know your answer.
Guess what, Coach Brown? My coach was Lionel Taylor. He was in 4 Super Bowls together. He played in, he coached the Steelers twice or 3 times in the Rams. So, of course, social media wasn't back that then. You know what I mean? He was the first wide receiver in the AFL to catch 100 passes in a season. So he was that guy, but of course it was way back before. But we're really talking about what Coach Brown is prepared to do in his resume and how he can come in and articulate, what a program needs. He can identify when he goes and gets his – Coach Brown, we working on getting you 1-on-1 jobs now. So when he goes in there, he already know where the restroom at, bathroom, who giving money, who he got to buy some whiskey for to keep the dormitory clean and all that stuff, and how to break down the money and what to expect when he get there. He ain't coming in there saying, yeah, I know we got the best trainer, we got the best equipment, and the field is clean and it's lined and all that. He ain't worried about that. He gonna get to that part. So I know I'm selling you, Coach. I'm your agent, but I know as a coach, former coach, to make people understand that they got to get HBCU coaches more credit than we've been doing. These guys are coming in there and they're rolling up their sleeves, and they got skin in the game. And that's the difference to me when you start bringing these outside people in. We got skin in the game, and then on the other side of it is that we don't have a whole bunch of opportunities. We got these 20 Division I AA football programs, and then we got these Division II programs, and then that's it for us, where we actually can walk in as a number one candidate, of feeling that we got an opportunity. So if we bring in people from the outside, man, that's hurting us. And if you look at the success and the records between these NFL guys coming in, taking these head jobs, and actually winning, it's a waste of time. It doesn't work. That formula doesn't work. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, what I will say is this, and this is what my assessment of what's going on. You have in my opinion, a blueprint of how you should hire coaches to ensure that your program has a chance for success. And you look at it, any other level of coaching, any other level other than HBCUs, what they end up doing, if when a coach has success at a lower level, they end up promoting that coach to a higher level, and higher level. What ends up happening in HBCU football, since I've been watching, is they get these inexperienced coaches who get in the middle of these reclamation projects, right? These programs that hadn't won, and they want a guy with absolutely no experience at the head coach position to come in and revamp or change the culture of the program. And for whatever reason, they realize that it's not the quick fix that people are not getting the results that Deion got. And so whether it be at and I'm just going to say this. I'm going to set the NFL players aside, and I'll say guys that don't have a history of coaching in HBCU football, and add those guys back in, because those guys are struggling as well. And so, Coach, when I see a guy like you that has success at a lower level and paid his dues, so to speak, and whenever there's a coaching position open at one of the blue bloods or one of the big schools, guys like you and Coach Keaton and even Coach Gibbs a lot of times are often overlooked for bigger, sexier names that may not be as experienced or may not have the pedigree in HBCU football. And so I just wanted to point that out as we continue this conversation, because this platform is to highlight HBCU coaches, and I appreciate you coming on, communicating with us. A lot of coaches in HBCU football are really focused on football, but I think they also should be focused on marketing themselves and getting their name out there to the public. And that's why Coach Cole created this platform. He said there's a lot of great coaches in HBCU football. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know who they are. This platform was built with coaches in mind so that they could get their names out there to the people at large, because people from all HBCUs watch this platform. And I just personally want to thank you for coming on, because it's really been a delight having you on.
Well, I appreciate you guys this space and time with the opportunity to talk about Lane College football, to talk about a little history. Give me an opportunity to speak on a platform of this level to help promote the program and talk a little bit about myself and the good old days. Like I told LC, I know what defense you're running because you don't change.
Hey, Coach, here's a question from a Dragon.
LC
Coach
happened to be my brother, who's the defensive coordinator from Clark, Atlanta. So still let people know who LC is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, let me ask this question before we get you off.
Okay.
And it's about someone, Mr. Dragon. I'm sure he's a Dragon fan, wants to know about the quarterback battle. What's going on with the quarterback battle there at Lane College?
Oh man, right now we pretty much have a 3-man race for the quarterback job.
Wow.
The starter right now His name Nigel Johnson. We call him Jelly. He's from Starksville, Mississippi. He's one of our JUCO transfers. Then we have Jared Gaskin that's from Memphis. That started half of the season for us last year. He graduated and came back and said, "Coach, I want to still be a part of the program and be a leader and help." And then we just got a freshman in transfer from he's not a true freshman, but he's a transfer out of Birmingham. A quarterback that we coached at Alabama State named Demetrius Price. He trains quarterbacks in Birmingham, Alabama. Called about 4 weeks ago and said, "Coach, I got a kid that got hurt a year ago. He hasn't played in 2 years, and he can help you. I know your system. He can help you." And he transferred from the school he was at. I think he was at UAB in Birmingham. His father drove him down here. He got right in school the same day. Went through compliance. And man, when I tell you that football is hopping out of his hand, it's coming, Coach. It's coming. It is coming out of his hand, and it reminds me of. He reminds me of Kennedy. That's how he's built. Coach quarterback he had at Alabama State when I was at
You're
Grambling.
talking about Darnell Kennedy.
Yes, Kennedy. Kennedy. That's him.
He finished number 5th in all-time NCAA passing coach when he had finished. But of course, this was early 2000s. But he could play.
Wow,
yeah, so
Coach.
that young man is he's comfortable. One thing you look for in a quarterback is leadership, how he controls the huddle, his command and his voice with the snap count, and just how he goes through his progressions and delivering the football. So all three of those guys have came to the forefront doing camp right now. So we let Jelly Johnson, he takes majority of the reps, and we split the other ones right now because we're trying to get a consistent rhythm with the starting wide receivers and our number one quarterback right now. But the other two guys are making him average about 70 or 75% on a daily basis. So we chart them every day.
Well, Coach, man, I appreciate it. You know, you're dear to my heart, man, and I love Lane College. That was my first head coaching job, so I always be indebted to Lane College. And man, I know you're gonna do well, you know, and we definitely will have you on again, you know, down in the bottom or the middle of the season to see how you're doing. And I appreciate your time and effort, man. I appreciate it. And good luck this season.
All right, thank you guys, and I appreciate it. And y'all just keep moving forward what you're doing with this platform for young black men to get an opportunity to move forward with their dreams. And once again, appreciate you. And like I tell them, F3, fight, focus, and finish. Go Dragons.
Go Dragons.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate everything.
All right, Coach. All right, man. We got 5 minutes before we bring on Coach Keaton for those Fighting Clark Atlanta Panthers. Man, I tell you, this cat, man, is a bad boy, man. He's a bad football coach, great philosophy, man, and he get those kids going over the lane, and he know how to go turn over some rocks, Coach, and get some players.
Coach, he was very impressive, Coach. He was very impressive. He just seems like a good old football guy, and as a football fan, I certainly appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm reaching out to Coach Keaton as we speak, and
we have him on, Coach. He's in the green room. He's in the green room. Right? Look like he's been ready to go. He's been ready to go since 8 o'clock, Coach. He's foaming at the mouth, Coach. Whenever you're ready, we can bring him on.
I love y'all guys. Cause we got a green room now.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to contribute that to our fans, man. They push us, boy. We going some places, but they got to do what, Coach? They got to subscribe, right?
They got to like and subscribe. Let's get some thumbs up. Let's also get some subscribers and even some memberships. So, and super chats, however you guys can support, we greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget, if you're watching on Off Script, go over to Rocky Miller channel and please subscribe there as well. But it's on you, Coach.
Next up, man, I got a guy that I always told you guys I had 8 brothers. I think I found my 9th brother. But you're talking about a heck of a football coach, a heck of an administrator, a heck of a father, a heck of a guy who was an upright guy. He stands on his own feet, and he's won everywhere he's been, and I'm glad that he was able to win at Allen, which hadn't had a winning season in over 18 years. Now he's also taken over a Clark Atlanta Panther team. Guys, check this out. They've only had one winning season in 35 years, and that was a 6-4 record. And then they got 4 seasons where they were 5-5 in 35 years. So this is the stuff that he does. Like I said, he gave my brother an opportunity when everybody told him not to. And that's what you call a stand-up guy. He's administrator. I call him the general manager. And he also has a special treat. I love his son. I got to get the age. His son is real little, and he comes out with his hat on and with his top on. And he really go out and I think the film I seen, his little son was over at the O-line. So he's starting off at the O-line. But again, he's a stand-up guy, and he believes in himself, very confident guy. And I think he's going to do some great things at Clark Atlanta Panthers. Yours truly, Mr. Teddy Keaton.
How you guys doing, man?
Good, Coach. Good, man. Last time you was on, you was just getting a job, and of course, now that I'm gonna be HBC. You go and gonna be having your first game, and you got to put it on display, man. We cheering for you, and where you are now. At first you was just finding where the restroom at. Now you in the house, and you doing your house chores and everything. Where you guys at as a football program today?
Well, with this new landscape of college football, I kind of treat it like we in NFL fall training camp. You got 90 guys that reported. They showed up here with bright eyes, bushy tails, and came here ready to play football. Now you're taking those 90 guys and you're trying to get to your, 58. That's what it is. Here's 53 in the NFL. You're trying to get to your 58. You're trying to find the guys that's going to be able to add value to the team, find their position. We've had our first scrimmage this past weekend, and a lot of things look good. We got a long way to go. We had some things we got to clean up. There were some bright spots. There's some spots that still need some work. I was very impressed with a lot of the way they're coming along on offense and defense. For the first time, I'm not a guy who's trying to I don't call plays this year. I got Coach Cunningham that's going to be involved with that. I'm going to keep a close eye on it, but most of the time I try to stay away from, those different things. And we're trying to just be, as you like to call me now, the general manager of the team. And I did most of the recruiting. I found guys that I felt that fit what we like to do, what we do. We talk the language of what we do at CAU, how we go about doing our business. We don't worry about what other people do. We got to worry about how we do it and what we bring to the table and how we prepare for what we're trying to accomplish.
Now, Coach, you sitting on the couch, you look calm, you relax. Let me say this again, Coach Campbell and Coach Rocky. You taking over a program that had one winning season. That was a 6-game season in 35 years. All right, and I know this is your MO, so I'm letting everybody else know because you took over Stillman and you won there. You took over Arena Team, you won there. Of course, you took. And you sitting there, they only had 4 seasons where they won 5 games in 35 years. Coach, you look like you got everything under control, man.
There's no to be rowdied up about everything. We take it day by day. We're trying to go 1-0 every day. We work hard at it. I got some great men around me. I think Coach Cunningham, Marvin Cunningham, is my offensive coordinator. He's doing a tremendous job. Frank Sutton is my O-line coach. He's doing a great job. Your brother, L.C. Cole, who is the grandfather of us all, he does a great job of helping me and shape me into the person that I'm becoming. I got EJ Jr. He's a legend, college Hall of Famer. He's doing his part. And there's a lot of numerous other support staff and other people that we have around us that we work together. I tell people all the time, they don't work for me. We work with each other, and we're trying to build something great. And I think that's the thing that I strive off of, is having a challenge or an opportunity to be able to build something that will leave a legacy long after the wins and losses come along. It's the challenges that thrive me.
Now, Coach, you like say you win everywhere, and of course, when you're a head coach, you don't win by yourself. And the way you pick your staffs, I followed you guys at Stillman, I followed you guys at Allen, and now at Clark. Tell us about, because you just don't work on the buddy system. You go out and find the best guys. Tell us your philosophy of how you choose your staff.
Everybody has to be smarter than me. Everybody in the room, I can't be the smartest person at the table. We're going to bring guys that when we walk them in the room, I was raised by old school coach Theophilus Danzy. He was at Alcorn for years. Coach Danzy always taught us that if I'm the smartest person at the table, then we're in trouble. So I bring guys in, we interview them. We also believe in the process of raising coaches as well, teaching them what to do, how to do it, and why it's important for them to do it that way, because there's a next generation of coaches that's going to come along that'll need an opportunity. And if we do them the right way, they'll treat the sport and the profession in a professional way. So it's a lot of thought that go into that. Now, you just don't know that I go find guys that I like. Older guys. Older guys have a tendency to bring a degree of wisdom to the program. They also have a degree of calmness about them. And they also not linked in to try to be friends of a kid. They're a guy who's going to evaluate that kid for what they are, what they bring to the table, and figure out where they fit in at, or we try to create things to where they can fit. A lot of people talk about our offense and our defense. Yes, there's some things that do change, and we don't sit and do things that we know we can't do. We find kids that fit, and we're willing to adjust to those kids to give us an opportunity to be successful.
Now, Coach, you left out one coach. I had a chance to see him on a reel, and every time I go down there or I see a picture of my brother, it's this little guy that you had that's on your staff. You didn't mention him. Is he old enough yet, Coach? And that's your son. Every time I see these pictures, he got his hat on, his red hat, his red shirt. Of course, when you was at Allen, he'd be out there coaching. Is he around you tonight, Coach?
No, it's bedtime for him. He got to go to school. He's 4 years old. He's 4 years old. His name is Coach Cohen. Cohen Keaton. That's my 4-year-old son. I love him to death. They say imitation is the biggest flattery for you. That's my son that's imitating me. He stand like me. He walk like me. He come to practice. He ready to go to work. Coach Cole, your brother, has taken him under the things that he had to do, and I believe that Coach Cole that's his idol. He goes to Coach Cole. If I'm in the building and Coach Cole is in the building, he's going to Coach Cole.
I tell you, man, I seen a reel of him, Rocky and Coach Campbell, man. I mean, he have his hat. He looking at the players. He dapping them up. I mean, he going through the whole.
Hey, Coach, Coach, you know he gonna want to call some plays pretty soon, Coach. So you better.
If you look at the last reel, he had his own sheet. He had his own play call sheet, baby. He ready. And you know where he started at. Coach Cole brought this up. He was at the O-line. See, when I learned how to call plays, you can't block it, you can't call it. So guess what? He learned it at the right spot right now. How to block it first, and then we'll figure out from that play on.
Now, what did he tell his teacher, Coach?
He went to school one day. When he introduced himself, his mom took him to a new school, and he introduced himself. He said, "Hi, my name is Coach Cohen, and I'm gonna be a football coach."
He got it.
And they call him at school, Coach Cohen.
Hey, Coach, I love that. That Coach, listen, that is just such a beautiful story. And you know what? This is what we need, more Black father stories, because that is the pillar. Your son seeing, and this is what I think people fail to realize, being an HBCU coach, being around it, you are fathers to so many young men. and they're looking at you and they see you went to college, you progressed, now you're a head coach, and look at your son who's idolizing you. And that's what I just love being around the HBCU experience, because we get to see somebody that looks like us. And like I said, you see a lot of these coaches at the Power Five, and you read these articles, they don't even want to tell the kids to go bowl, or they don't tell the kids the history of things like that. All they want you to do is block and tackle and anything like that. But you are teaching these kids about being a black man, and your son is following your tradition. So I just want to salute you on that before I even get to it. Now, Coach, I got to get at it. Now, you are coach of the Panthers. Now, Panther hunts at night, so they're really sneaky. Now, Coach, I think people, Coach Cole talking about you guys haven't had a winning season. Now, that ain't got nothing to do with you. But, Coach, I'm going to tell you something. I think you sitting on something. Now, I'm sitting up here looking, and I don't know if a lot of people know that. You actually got the SIAC Player of the Year playing for you. That actually played at Allen. And it's the first team. So you actually got the first team quarterback. You've got 3 other players that played at Allen, Elijah Sharif, and Marcus Sherman, who also first team select. So, Coach, already you have increased the talent of the team. So, Coach, tell us about some of the players that you brought from Allen, and that are now already all conference, and what you expect from them to be leaders and help you get to a winning season. Especially, right.
I think they've already established that. I think those guys have came into this locker room and they embrace this team. There's not just guys from Allen. This new landscape of college football, I want to set the record straight here. Now kids have an opportunity to go wherever they go. And I think everybody got mad, asked me these questions about, you just stole all the kids from Allen. I didn't steal anybody. This is what it is. It's a testament to what we do, what we bring to the table, and how they respected their coach, that when they had the opportunity to lead with their coach, they took advantage of that. They had already been in a system, and nobody said anything when Barry took all his kids to South Carolina State from Benedict, but everybody want to talk about Coach Keaton on a platform that he stole everybody. No, I stole the kids I recruited. And if I went somewhere else, I'd do it again. And that's it.
Hey, Coach, I was gonna mention that, Coach. And this is what I'll say, Coach. When I was looking over the preseason standings, right? The preseason predictions by the press of the SIAC. You did have the quarterback. You did have an offensive lineman. You did have a defensive lineman on the first team. But then when I go down to see the rankings, you're predicted to finish 10th, Coach. How can they expect you to have all of this talent on the first and second team, and even on the first and second team, and finish at the bottom of your conference? Can you explain that to me?
Well, most people in this conference are going to predict the Bluegrass, the people that always win, Albany State, Tuskegee. Miles is now have become the talk in that picture, and Fort Valley State, which understandably that's there. But I don't think they do enough research. I think there's not enough platforms for them to be able to hear from the coaches to be able to make a justifiable reason to say why they pick who they pick. They just go with what's comfortable. And I think that if you really went home, did your research, and started looking at the players that has joined those teams, then you might think, oh, well, nobody thought that Allen would go in and beat Albany State last year. I mean, the only person that believed that was Teddy Keaton and KLC Cole. We're the only 2 people that believe when we walked on that field. And I'm sorry, a lot of people, they call me Lil Deion. And I tell them all the time that I don't know if I'm Lil Deion. I just feel like what Coach Cole say, you got to market it yourself. You could probably call me Ball Game. That's what they call Coach Cole down there. You could call me that. I watched them growing up. They marketed to themselves. They put themselves in position, and I think sometimes they got them in trouble because people don't like for you to be bigger than the institution, especially at our HBCUs. But we'll go out and hire or Deion or someone else, and we pay them oodles of money, and they don't even have no invested interest in the institution. It was just an opportunity to get a job, to move on. And I'm not discrediting Deion and no what else. We even can talk about politics from that standpoint. We as Black folks been programmed to idolize celebrities. If you don't got a name, we're not listening to you. If somebody got up and said they were voting for such and such politician and he was a celebrity, we think that what they say is right. And I don't think that that's where we got to become great leaders, great men, and be able to get our kids to think, change their way of thinking when it comes to that. And in terms of the media and whoever voted, we don't care about that. All we care about is what we do. we work hard, we put in the work, we're doing what we got to do, and hopefully we can change a program that has a history of losing, because it'll be something that'll be talked about decades from now, just like they'll always remember Teddy Keaton at Allen University.
Let me ask you this, Coach. This is a follow-up question to all the players that were listed in the all-conference first and second team that you have. And you say a lot of those players came from Allen, correct?
That's correct.
In my mind, what I'm saying when I'm thinking about that, being first team all-conference in Columbia, South Carolina is a different proposition than being first team all-conference in Atlanta, Georgia. So
No
what
doubt.
have you done as a coach to kind of get these players prepared to be in what I consider the big city?
Let me say this. It's not hard to recruit a kid to Atlanta at the AU Center, period. All I got to do is bring him up on Chicken Wednesday, drop him off in the middle of the promenade, and I can leave. I don't even got to talk. I ain't got to say nothing. After he comes back off of his visit to the cafeteria and he walks around and see all the young ladies that, which is 85% women, and I'm talking about some gorgeous women that they can find their potential next wife to, I don't really have to sell Clark Atlanta. And I ask myself over and over again, what is it that I'm doing that somebody else might have could have not done? So I don't really know. We'll see what happens, but I haven't had one to come back to the locker room and say, "No, Coach, I don't think this is a good opportunity for me."
Now, Coach, are you sure they're not looking at the great academic prowess of CAU? You sure they're looking at all that other stuff that the future classmates that you're looking at? Is that what it is, Coach?
Unfortunately, we would say what Coach Saban would have said. 92,000 people don't just conjugate together to see the math team, but they will conjugate together to see a football program. So we just say it like that. It's just a lot of great academic stuff going on there. But what happens is football is the front porch of your institution. If you can get football to win, imagine what the AU Center will look like then. The AU Center is lit. There's nothing about the AU Center. It's a whole vibe. And if you can get a football program over there I'm rooting for Morehouse to win, because I'm not. This is something for the A that we all need to win. If we win here, it'll be who wouldn't want to be in this market?
Right.
I love that, Coach.
Coach, much like, and I put Atlanta and the city of Houston in kind of the same situation in this. You have prominent HBCUs in huge metropolitan areas that have been consistent losers. Can you explain that after being 6 months on the job? Can you explain, why that could be?
Well, I think it's the fact that when you look at, taking no credit from anyone else, I think it goes back to the conversation you guys were having with Coach Brown. When you look at the series of coaches that's been hired at Clark Atlanta, a lot of them were first-time head coaches. So one came from a PWI who had never seen the lights or had the personality to be able to adjust to the systems of a black college. You got to learn how to navigate through a lot of different things, and it ain't always losing on the field. There's a lot of things that go on in the administrative office, the business office, those different places, and there's a lot of nepotism found in these buildings that's been hidden there for 100 years, that these guys get in certain areas and they want to become leaders, and they do what I call gatekeeping. And if they don't like you and you wasn't their choice, they'll figure out a way to make sure you lose, whether it be holding them up in housing or not getting them any food or making sure certain things don't happen for them. Those are the things that people as coaches, we are so afraid to talk about, because if you say the wrong thing, you'll get fired. But if I get fired for standing up for what's right, then I'll sleep at night better, knowing that I did the right thing for the organization. But if those who want to win, there's not a lot of people. If you go to some PWIs, I coached that one. You don't get those type of hiccups. They could be notorious losers, and they'll still go in, and they're trying to get their kids in school, do the things that they need to do. I just think that there's a lot of things that's went on that I'm in there now addressing things that other coaches with the lack thereof experience that I got can't go into those rooms and be able to present to people who have doctorates and different things of that level, to be able to speak on their level about strategic organization and how things should be done and proper policy and procedures that need to be handled in order to take care of winning. because winning just don't start on the field. It starts as a culture.
Coach, let me ask you this question. I always ask the coaches this, and again, I'm a HBCU fan, follow the sport, so I know the first answer is always money. But I like to ask the coach specific. You being the coach at Clark Atlanta, you have a huge successful alumni base. What are the 5 things that you would tell your alumni right now that you need to help you to be a championship squad year in and year out? What would be the 5 things?
First of all, I'm not going to ask them for anything first. The first thing I'm going to do is winning, because me as an investor myself, I won't pour any money into anything that's losing. So that's the first thing you got to be able to understand. So the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out a way to win. And if I can show them how to win, then guess what we're going to do? Now, when I go to the table, I want to be able to bring something to them to show why their investment is important to what we're trying to accomplish. But if you can't go in and win, then there's no need to go ask somebody, would you pour any money into a team that's won 4 games or 5 games since 2008? It would be very hard for you to do that. So I don't get mad. I think Clark Atlanta has some of the great. I'm talking about they want to help. They'll bend over backwards to help. But again, we got to do what we got with the resources that we have. And I'm used to working with limited resources, so we just don't complain about it. I mean, if we need something done, Coach Cole, he'll go in there and he'll build it. We need new chutes. We put the pipes together and we'll get it done. We want new bags. We find other things to go get that done without having to ask them before we take care of our business on the field. Then it makes it easy for somebody to say, oh, he's already proven to me that he can win.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, guys, when he said Coach Cole the building, do y'all understand what he's saying? When he said that Coach Cole the building, do you know that me and my brother, he built locker rooms? Built locker rooms.
Yeah, he meant that literally. No, he meant that literally. No, Coach, I understand. He meant that literally.
And then when he was at Allen, he built the equipment room, so the equipment room can operate in a new era. You know, back in the day, they used to fold up jerseys. They don't fold jerseys no more. They hang them up. So he literally, with his hands, built lockers. Same thing we did in Lane College. Same thing he did at Tennessee State. But I just want to make sure that our audience understand. He said it so quickly to make them understand what these guys that we're talking to, Coach Keaton, Coach Brown, some of these other black college coaches, the things that they do, Coach, they build programs with their bare hands. But go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to say Coach Keaton seems quite confident, and it reminds me of a guy that once told me, if I ever got a job again, you won't have to worry about firing me, because if I don't win, I'll leave. You know, and so it seems like you're that kind of guy too. You understand. You don't shy away from the expectations of winning. We've interviewed probably 7 or 8 coaches along the way, and
so you quote me, Coach.
Some of them shy away from the expectations of winning. Why are you so comfortable with the expectations of winning, Coach Keaton?
Then why do we play the game? Why do we keep score? Why do it if you don't do the plan to win? I expect to win. And everything I do, even when I lose, I try to find the winning points and why we lost. And what can we do differently to do that? Every day I sit at the table with my team and we talk about the coaches. We talk about the language that we speak, what we say to ourselves. We don't have to, we get to. We get the opportunity to get up and coach some young men. We get an opportunity to lead them we talk about the legacy that they could leave. At Clark Atlanta University, if they're able to go out and do what most people, well, everybody but that 1% that's in that room with me think that we cannot do. But I've proven to most people over and over again that I'm almost tired of proving it, that I'm going to show up and I'm going to give you the best I got. And we're going to give you. And I made the statement if you go back and let's rewind the tape. I like to say this all the time. Rewind the tape. I told you if Teddy Keaton can't do it, then it probably can't be done. Because we're going to turn over no stone, no turn. We're going to leave everything unturned. And we're going to make sure we find the right people, get the right people in the seat on the bus. And I love it. I love the challenge. I love the energy. I love everything about it. It's now 10:20 and I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning and I can go to practice right now. That's how crunk I am about it now.
Well, let's talk about your quarterback. I had a chance to go visit you and my brother, and at a 6 o'clock in the morning workout. And I seen a kid that the ball jumps out his hand. You know, let's talk about him. I mean, he seems like he's happy there at Clark Atlanta. I got a chance to say some things to him, you know, about the position. But you real high on this guy.
6,000, 2 years, 6,000 yards. Why would I be high on him? The only thing, I mean, he's threw more than all the black college football quarterbacks have. He's a guy that nobody recruited. He reminds me of a guy I recruited when I was at Weber International University. He was 5'9". T. Morris won, but maybe 5'7" or 5'8". He threw for over 4,000 yards in one season. And you're talking about a guy now that if he could alleviate the turnovers and manage the game, and he could easily break more records than he is. You know, I heard you guys talking about Darnell Kennedy. I had the opportunity to coach Darnell Kennedy in West Virginia at the Huntington Heroes. And let me tell you something, that's a big statement to make about a guy who I watched play in the Magic City Classic and drop dimes and then turn around and go to the basketball court and shoot the eyes out of basketball. I'm talking about a tremendous athlete. Thanks to the ball game there. I mean, he probably arguably, I've had a lot of great quarterbacks. I have. Josh Strong, Torrance Morris, this guy here, the guy I left at Allen is really good too. So you telling me that when you can compare a guy to him, whew, boy, I got to get my defense ready.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you this, because this is something that I've noticed since I've been watching HBCU football the last 5 years. See, I want people to explain me certain things about what I've been watching. I know that quarterback is a very difficult position to play on any level, right? What makes at the HBCU level it especially difficult to develop quarterbacks?
I think you got to know how to pick them. Let's talk about the coaches that evaluate them. I think we have a horrible eye sometimes. Most of the greatest coaches, I gave a list of people that to Coach Cole. Coach Cole being one of the greatest offensive coordinators. We talking about in the passing era, not guys who, you know, that was there. The people that I know now there may be guys that may be out there somewhere else. Willie Simmons, another guy that's a really great corner in the modern day era. Melvin Pete, a name that most people might not remember, but Melvin Pete was a really good offensive coordinator, played at Jackson State. Those guys knew how to evaluate. Asbury, he knew how to evaluate a quarterback. And it's never a game that you got with them that you find those coaches who do. So you got to look at a kid and understand, can he be developed? Because a lot of schools that we get our kids from don't come from highly recruited high schools. They come from places where they are limited, just like we are at the black colleges, in resources in their program. And they'll put an athlete at quarterback, and then you evaluate and think because he's a great athlete, but he can't hit the side of a barn. So when you watching film, you got to be able to know and understand, can that kid make it? Because the game doesn't get faster. So as he grows at every level he goes up, it gets faster. You got to watch, can he anticipate throws? How he stands in the pocket? How do he handle pressure? All those things got to be evaluated. And sometimes you got to just bring them to the school and say, hey, I need to see you outside. I need to see if you can throw that 7 ball. That's the most difficult throw. I need to see you throw that out route. I need to see you throw that 10-yard out route. Because if he can hit those throws on the money, then any other throw that's in his face, he going to make.
I'm glad you bring that up, Coach, because I see guys on the HBCU level who are good athletes, who sometimes a lot of them even have strong arms, right? But but they cannot consistently execute the integral nuances of passing the football. In other words, Coach, they can't hit the inside of the side of a barn from the inside. And so that's when I'm struggling watching the game, I'm like, that's a simple throw. Why is that kid struggling to make that throw?
Well, one thing, one thing about a quarterback, it makes him great, is consistency. You know, even when he's having a bad game, he's having a good game. The other part is his off-field actions. Is he in the coach's office? Is he watching film? Is he hungry? Is he a leader, off the field? So a lot of times that and like Coach Keaton say, man, you got to be careful about using those names. Your Darnell Kennedys, your Bruce Eugenes, your Doug Williams. You got to be careful about throwing a kid. Oh man, this kid is like Darnell Kennedy. Is he throwing for 3,000 yards a game? Is he started as a freshman and has taken his team from 2-9 to 9-2? Those are the things that you got to see and say. And I could tell when I know I got a good one. And I hadn't had a good one in a long time. And I really ain't seen the good one, Keith. Now, your kid got all the physical attributes. And and you kind of mentioned it. But I'm pretty sure with you doing coaching him from another aspect and cutting him coaching, that if he could just tighten up those turnovers, like you say, I think that kid is special. Mr. Wright is his name, right?
David Wright the third.
Yeah.
I think his biggest thing is if you had to match him to a quarterback, I would say he's Brett Favre. He'll throw you in a game and he'll throw you out of one. But the plays he do make when he break the pocket, that you better be covering your guy because he can drop it 60 or 70 yards and it'll be on the money. And I ain't never saw too many people do it. I mean, and I think now he's understanding because he tried to transfer from me. Because he thought, when you're in high school and a guy who's done well, he comes in and plays as a true freshman and he throws for over 3,000 yards. And he easily, he had 24 touchdowns, the whole nine. He thinking that, well, somebody's going to pick me up. But what he didn't see is that his management of the game, as Coach Cunningham would say, staying on schedule, meaning that it's 3rd down and 3, and he goes and make a throw that he could have easily hit the check down, and we got out of the play, and we got a new set of drive to move the change. Sometimes he would take a shot. He might even make that shot. But in your mind, you thinking as a coach, like, boy, I wish he just would have threw the check down. It could have been a lot easier. Or when it's time that we in another second and shorter, we want to run the ball, but we call the RPO off of it, and he automatically pulls the ball and hadn't actually read the coverage. So good coaches can identify those things and see it and be like, he's not a good manager of the game. He's a riverboat gambler, and he'll cause us to be in situations when we don't need him to put us in these situations.
Let's talk about your receiving core, Coach, because you don't sleep on them now. I know I'm giving away some of the secrets, but let's talk about them as well, Coach.
What you want to know about them? I mean, I got Ronnie West.
Hey guys, y'all notice everybody had keeping stuff close to the pocket. Okay, Coach, here we go. From 0 to 10, 10 being a good group, 0 being a terrible group, Coach. What number you give them?
They at about an 8 right now.
That number, it sounds good. It sounds repeated on it. Okay, all right, here we go. Offensive line, Coach.
The offensive line, I think they have been a really impressive group. I think Frank Sutton has done a really good job. He's a guy that played at the Louisiana Monroe. And I feel like he's done a great job with the group. From the spring to now, I've seen him grow. While we was listening to the other part and I was in the weight room, I was watching practice today, and I was amazed at how, he had those guys getting off the ball, firing off on the double team. We're more second level now than I ever thought. The pass pro looked really good. They still, going against your brother is a real difficult scheme because he give you a lot of different looks and he'll go against the way you protect. And next thing you know, somebody's always running scot-free. And I think we've done a good job of iron sharpening iron. And it all make us grow when we go to practice. It makes us grow as coaches because when you got a guy like LC who's coached all the way from Power 5 all the way down to the levels, I mean, come on now. He got enough tricks up and he's forgot more football than most of us learn. So, we go in there every day trying to figure out what he's going to do. And I'm excited about what we're doing. I mean, offensively, I think Coach Cunningham is doing a tremendous job. We're on schedule. I think now after the first scrimmage, we're in week 2 now, and we're on Tuesday's practice. I think they've done a really good job. Now we're really trying to escalate. So when we get to the second scrimmage, how will we look? I'm looking for sharpness, execution, staying on schedule. And we really talk about these offensive players, but I really want to talk about what has happened and transpired on defense.
Well, Coach, before we go to defense, I got to ask you this. This has to be a misprint. You have Elijah Sharif, a preseason first team all SIAC player, and they have him listed as a freshman. That can't be right.
No, he's going into his sophomore year.
Oh, okay.
He wanted first team as a freshman.
Okay. All right. So he's actually coming back as a sophomore. Okay, that makes sense.
He transferred in with me from Allen.
All right, Coach, let's talk about that defensive front. I know LC, if he got a defensive front, y'all going to be hell on wheels.
Well, he bought all three guys. Sherman is his beast, his workhorse. Sherman was second team All-American. He bought Art with him from Allen, and he's his nose guard. And then he turned around and he bought Caleb Pierce with him. And it's not the first group that I'm overly impressed with. It's the young group that I'm really impressed with. He bought some guys that he coached at Park Crossing High School that's been around the way, and they've been at junior college programs and different things of that nature there. Amarion Robinson, who transferred from Arkansas Baptist. The guy that knows, I can't think of his name right. His name is I don't know. I just know his number. He's number 91. And the reason why I know his number is because every day at practice, he is giving out All-American center. Parents, he putting him to work every day. And the kid is now, I'm so impressed with him that maybe at the end of camp, he came as a walk-on. And we're going to have one of those feel-good moments. And I'm going to have to give him a scholarship. I'm sorry. Because if I don't give him a scholarship, somebody else will, man. Somebody else is going to get him.
Now, you got my other brother, which is my best friend. He's right above me. He's number 8. I'm number 9. He's coaching your linebackers. What about your linebacker, or at least that boundary end? And I know in LC's defense, that boundary end is a bitch. He's the guy that makes it all go. Where those guys rank at?
Let's say this here. The kid that he kept that came from Clark, Atlanta, that was here, he's about 6'4.5". He's about 220, and he's a dog. Curtis Wade, he is a dog. He is going into his sophomore year, and he played with his hand in the dirt last year. We put him up. He from Atlanta, Georgia. He can run. He can do everything that you want to do. And then on the other boundary end, you have MC, who he bought from. He's 6'3.5", about right at 200 pounds. And he's another guy that's getting after it really hard. But he also has a guy that we got from Shorter that came, and we got a guy from Miami of Ohio he hasn't gotten to play much. And then we got a kid from Sandy Creek. And all those guys are 220 plus, and they can all run like this. And they make it very difficult for my short quarterback sometimes because they be throwing the ball back in his face because they can just reach their arms up and get it.
Now, Coach, me and you get to talk behind, and about my brother, as far as his defensive philosophy. But I know one thing. What about that secondary? Because if that secondary can cover, Coach, hey, you can strike up the band, Coach Rocky. They're gonna be putting some stops on some folks.
Well, he bought the All-American corner, second team All-American Dahill Wilkins. He's playing one corner right now, and on the other corner, it's a battle going on. We have a kid that we got from Arizona State that he's in that mix, and then we got another kid that came from Campbellton. I think it's called Campbell University, who's really, really emerging as a front runner. Then you got Artilius Elliott, 6, and then he's a guy that's kind of moving in that secondary. And then we have Cameron Ivey, another first team all-conference guy who's in the mix there too. I mean, it's a lot of cooking going on back there. So right now we're just kind of letting it cook. When we get on the game field here coming up here in a minute and we get ready to go for the second scrimmage, we're going to try to separate the who from the do.
Let me ask you this here, Coach. You got I noticed that you have 2 preseason all-conference players already in your secondary, and you mentioned another secondary player that's making hay, right? And in this conference, is it typical to have that much talent in one secondary?
No. It ain't seen it since Rick Comegy.
Wow. And Rick Comegy was the head coach at Tuskegee, where he won 3 or 4 championships, and 2 or 3 of them, I think, were national championships as well, taking Tuskegee to those championship seasons. Well, Coach, for everybody watching, it'll be Clark Panthers versus the Fort Valley, and that game will be played on August 31st. It'll be on HBCU Go TV, and yours truly will be color analyst of the game, me and James Hatnot. I look forward to that and having the first game. And Coach Keaton, hey man, you on the clock, as we say.
Hey, we've been on the clock. It started November the 27th, and our slogan is "Be the Reason." We want to be the reason we be great. Be the reason we change the culture.
Coach, I want to ask you one question, and this is kind of going backwards a little bit. What did you talk about all the players that you've brought in? What did you find when you arrived on campus about the talent level that already was there? Was there any players that you were able to recruit to stay there and will contribute in this upcoming season?
Once we put in our practice, the way we do things, how we operate, I didn't have to cut a soul. They ran away. You knew one thing, they wasn't used to working at a high level. And when you're not used to working at a high level, and when y'all hear coaches say that average people don't like successful people don't like average people, you understand you separate them with the way we handle our business, the way we run the organization. So a lot of those guys, there was a lot of guys that were on here that were really, really good football players, no doubt about it. But a lot of those guys decided that they want to go in a different direction. You talk about an organization that's had 4 different head coaches in 5 years. So some of those kids were just tired of the change, and they never really gave us an opportunity to coach them. So they wanted to just find something new, do something better with their life. And I wish them nothing but the best. Those guys came and did what they had to do. But now we have brought 90 players in a room that we felt that were very competitive. Ronnie West was a guy that stayed. Darren Stevens was a guy that stayed. DeWayne Martin was a guy that stayed. Austin Euler at the O-line, he stayed. Those guys were up in their classes, and they were doing good. Andrew Banks is a guy that played quarterback that's turned into an awesome tight end. Nazir Poole, who plays corner. James Somerset that plays safety. Those guys have all turned into great players, and they're in the mix of competing because we don't care who get the job. We just want to know who get the job done. We don't care about any of that.
Right. Coach Campbell?
Listen, Coach, I just really appreciate you being on. I appreciate you representing the school so well. I see one thing, though, Coach, and I like to ask the coaches this. I'm looking at your schedule, and, of course, you got Fort Valley that first game. But there's a game that you got the second game, Coach. That's against Allen University. What is that going to feel like when you go to and a lot of people that you know on that sideline, things like that? Now, Coach, how you going to do? You going to treat them as friends and kick them out as strangers? Is that how you going to do it, Coach, when they come down there to Atlanta?
I have a tremendous amount of respect for Allen. I started their program from the ground up. I want to see them do nothing but, grow. So we'll play football. When we get in at 2:00, it's about the ball game. At 4:00, we're going to shake our hands and we're going to walk back. And deep down in my heart, I'm an Allenite too, because that is a program that I grew a part of. The people that I met there, I can never change none of that stuff. So we're just going to keep working, doing what we got to do. We're going to take it one game at a time.
Coach, we might have a couple calls that stay around for a minute. Man, I wish next time I have to get you on, man, so we can look at little coach, make sure he get his time as well.
Well, you can make sure he gets some airtime on the broadcast for HBCU Go.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a nice opportunity to have you guys on television. Matter of fact, I also have you guys at Central State of Ohio, which would be their homecoming.
Right.
So, I look forward to that game as well. Well,
I mean, y'all
how is
got
the
a lot of
administration? Go ahead.
you guys got a lot of ties to that Ohio area, so I'm sure
Ain't no question.
I'll meet all my stepbrothers there.
That's right. That's right. Good. Coach, it definitely will be a family reunion, and it also will be a class reunion as well. With all of us being there and our classmates and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a homecoming. It'll be a homecoming for me.
Rocky, they had the family reunion and didn't even invite me, man. I was so hurt.
Hey! I didn't get invited. I didn't get invited either. But maybe next time we'll make it. They can meet their 10th and 11th brother. You know what I mean?
Coach, you were still making deals up in the president's office.
Hey, you always got to be willing and dealing. We got to use the resources that we have within inside the organization. And then now, maybe if we win, and I mean, some of them, their expectations, as I see Cedric Walker say, just beat Morehouse. There's more games on that schedule than Morehouse, and Morehouse is the last game of the schedule. The only place I'm worried about right now is the Fort Valley Wildcats. And that's interesting. That is one of the top programs, and they have, historically beat me. And I get my hat goes off to Coach Sean Gibbs. He's an extremely intelligent coach, does a really good job at preparing his team, and it's going to be a cat fight there. And I hope that we can come out of there as the Panthers. We ain't going to be able to stalk at night. We got to learn to hunt in the daytime.
Hey, Coach, can you tell us your scholarship situation? Coach Brown was really transparent about what he was dealing with as far as resources. Would you be willing to elaborate about what your scholarship situation is?
Well, my scholarship situation, I'm probably at 32 if you did the math on it. And we still break them down just like everybody else does. You take those scholarships and you break them down in what's value to you, what creates value for you. And I think that a lot of programs, what they don't understand and how you got to explain it to the administration, when you're not giving a kid a full ride, they're making money off of that kid. So you take the money that they're making back and you show them that we're making you $2.5 million, even though you might have gave me $1.5 million in scholarship money. But at the end of the day, we breaking even somewhere, and they're making money off the kid. I would go into a situation, that is another day for another show. At a previous institution, I tried to show them the difference is that you're not giving a kid full rides. But I think that just like the news, people can shape the narrative of what it should look like and make you believe something else, that it costs this amount of money to run a college football program, which the narrative at that program that we was losing $5 million to run a program. Now, we all know, and everybody that's on this program know that ain't no black college or no president or no one at no institution going to throw $5 million at our program. Who we think we're running? The University of Alabama? That's not happening there. So I just tell people you got to really understand the dynamics of the business to understand they're making money, but they making money for the institution. And just very little of that may be going back into the program.
And Coach, it sounds like you guys need a capologist like they have in the NFL to break down those resources, because it looks like what it sounds like to me, you guys are working with a salary cap and you guys trying to distribute those funds and fill out a football roster all at the same time.
And there's no doubt. And if you're not good with the money, and most of the time when you have those big name people who always went to schools that everything's been done for them, they had a scholarship, that's what it was. Now you got to do the math. I got to go in and see what state he came from. Do we qualify for the Hope? Does he qualify for life? What institutional funds can I get for this kid? Then you got friends who sit on message boards and everywhere. They didn't recruit my kid. Well, maybe your kid didn't fit the dynamics of what we were trying to do, not just on the football field,
can you hear me?
but financially.
Yeah.
You strategically got to go financially to be able to help a kid get in school.
Yeah. I'm trying to say, Coach Keaton, and I'm going to switch the conversation and don't want to get real deep because you don't. And that's why, again, and I'll say this,
let me see if I can get you
that this platform is very important, and because it, like these schools have been around for hundreds of years. Coach Campbell, them dormitories already been paid for 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 times over. You know what I'm saying? And you still charging the kid room and board and all that kind of stuff. And as you were saying earlier, Coach Keaton, That's what you
Hey,
call
are you able to
ghost
hear me?
money. It's ghost money. You know what I mean? That's ghost paper. That's just strictly just paperwork. But that's why it's so important when I talk about hiring HBCU coaches, guys that's been in the trenches. You know, I mean, you telling me that Coach Keaton can't be the head coach at
I can hear
Florida
you.
A&M, Jackson State, Texas Southern. He can't work in it. He got to start it. You know, he's been over at Stillman. He won. He's been over at Lane, starter program. Now he's at Clark Atlanta. That the next 1AA job in Black college, he don't get an interview. Come on, coach, because he didn't play pro ball.
Hey, are you able to hear me, guy?
To play high school ball, but
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Right
all
up
right,
here.
I'm gonna pipe you down, and then I'm gonna bring you on. You'll be able to hear me. Bring you on. All right.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You know, it ain't about hating. You know, these pro guys. These pro guys ain't ready. You know, they coming from having everything, and some of them has never even managed people before. You know what I mean? It's just, I played defensive back. I was All-American. Yeah, I can come in and coach at a black school. Oh, yeah, by the way, here's $400,000. You know what I mean? But they'll pay a guy.
That's
like
that's the disrespect. That's the disrespectful part.
Yes.
They paid a guy 10 times more than they paid you to do the same jobs. And that's what's the most disrespectful part of it. You work your tail off. And like I said, I got to get back up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be right back with my guys for 10 times less the money and win more games than they do and go out and work as hard as they do. And I ain't hating on those guys. I want them to have their opportunity, blase, but be the equipment manager like I was and work your way up so you can at least, you gave all your resources to PWI. You played for those guys, but they wouldn't hire you. But you come back to us, and we'll take you open arms and say, okay, you can come run our program. And they will fully support it and be all proud of it. And then hate on me because I'm out here working hard. Oh, he don't need to work here. But you don't want me to get me started on that now.
Yeah. And that's the joke about it. You know what I mean? Coach just said, I don't know if y'all caught it. Coach, he started equipment manager. So guess what that's saying? He know how to order equipment. He know how to save money. He know how to cut corners. And he knows the people who's selling the stuff that they got in their room. I'll tell you a story. We used to travel so well that I was at Texas Southern. I bought my kids warm-up suits. Then Coach Keaton, I went out and bought them shoes. So we all had the same shoes and the same warm-up suit. But here's the catcher. Because I was equipment manager too, Coach Keaton, I had talked to the guy. I said, man, you ain't got no old shoes back in the back. He said, Coach, man, I got a whole bunch of New Balances. I said, man, let me get them off your hand. They got dust on them, He said, Coach, cool. I said, man, Coach, let me get them shoes for $5 a piece. So, Coach, I bought the whole team, the whole organization. We all had New Balances on. And of course, Coach, I made them wear them. You couldn't get on the bus unless you had the New Balances on. So these are the kind of things that we build programs. We build them, and that's the kind of coaches that we need. I can't understand why Mississippi Valley won't go back and get an LC coach, won't go back and get a James. Guys that's been successful and know how to build programs. I don't know why we keep going out in our conference and not hire the qualified coaches to produce good football programs. Because we ain't had a pro coming out of black college get drafted in a long time. And that's from getting bad coaches in there, Coach. And I'll stand by that. And I'll sit with any coach and we can talk about what's going on in black college football. And I guarantee you, when we walk out of that room, he'll be understanding where I'm coming from. So I just wanted to get that part.
I'm glad you got it off your chest. I fight it every day, but I got a whole jungle around here to fight, and I'm gonna keep chopping wood until the tree fall down. And see, I promise you, CAU is in great hands.
Good. Well, Coach, when you become the athletic director and head coach, I got a fundraiser guy to my right. I got an SID guy to my left. They ready. They ready to get in there. You know, Steve is my fundraiser. He tells everything about fundraising. And Coach Rocky know everything about the business side, and to make sure that he always say, Coach, is football important to Black college? And that's what he always asks. So we got. And I
sometimes, Steve, I definitely ask that same thing sometimes.
Coach, but I will say this, Coach, when men like you are at the helm, I have no issue with wondering whether football is a priority at that institution. Because much like the programs that were legendary in the past, I don't know if it was because of Grambling or Jackson State or even other blue blood programs, but there are special men that were connected to those programs that led them into greatness. And so I still say we are HBCUs are in a very unique situation where for those programs to be what we would like them to be, they have to truly have special men at the helm. And I can't wait till the day we get back to that tradition, to having very special men at the helm of those programs.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. You got a caller, Coach?
Yeah, we do have a caller. Caller with the last 43305. What's your name and where you're calling from? Maybe he's scared now, Coach, but he was saying something a few minutes ago.
Oh, yeah, my name is Roy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you just fine. Yeah, we hear you.
Roy Wallace from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay. What you got, Roy?
Hey, the coach let you know about his team, and, he's not holding nothing. He's not holding it close to his vest. But he held one coach close to his vest.
What coach was that?
Now, JC, I hope it don't get us I hope it don't get me in any trouble because it's family. Because he got a coach on that staff, Steve Cole, helping him out.
Hey, he was mentioned. He definitely was mentioned. You may have came on the show a little late, but Steve Cole was brought out. Now, you was referred to as LC's little brother. Or he was referred to as LC's little brother, but that's who they were referring to was Steve Cole. So he was mentioned.
Hey. And you're talking about, I know for a fact that his linebackers is going to be A1. They're going to be A1.
A1?
Shout out to Steve Cole.
I'll tell you this. Coach Cole is going to lay eyes on him on August the 31st, I believe, and we'll get a full report of whether or not they are who you think they are.
I tell you what, one thing I said earlier about
they're gonna be there. They're gonna be there.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, caller, for calling. We got another call on the line. Caller with the last 43859. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner.
Thank you. Hey, gentlemen, this is Johnny T from Georgia.
Hey, they got to cut their radio down, don't they, Coach?
Yeah. They getting chopped up in the background. So turn your background sound down and let's talk. Or go outside, go in the garage or something.
I think that's my man, Johnny T. John, you got to get on that house phone. I know you still got a house phone, man. You got to call in on that house phone. I know you still got that house phone.
Hey, me and Johnny, me and Miss T and my wife, we got a date in Miami, so we got to he hung up.
Yeah, he probably gonna call back on that. He ain't gonna call on that house phone. His wife ain't gonna let him cut that house phone off.
They still charge long distance now. We're on the landline.
No, man, he get it free now. He get it free.
There's a receiver I'll be remiss not to bring up. Delancey Tolliver that we have that came from Morehouse. He was a standout wide receiver at Morehouse, and he joined us at Clark, and he's added great value to our receiving core as well.
Hey, caller with the all right, Coach. Caller with the last 43859. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Coach Cole and Coach Keaton.
Coach Cole, Coach Keaton, good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Listen, Coach Keaton, my name is Johnny T, and my high school coach is a Clark grad. My brother played ball up at Clark, and I'm gonna get on my brother tonight, tomorrow morning, and I got to feed him. I'm gonna make him break some money down there, even if you don't win, because you gonna turn boys to men. And I'm in you. I don't care if I'm central man, I got confidence in you. Game, no game. I know a man, a maker of man when I see one. I want to say something to you, Coach Keaton, and to all the coaches I watched over the last 3 weeks or so. Myself and another HBCU grad who's a former federal agent like myself, he graduated from Tennessee State. And one thing that he and I said, the common denominator that we're seeing with all of these HBCU coaches, we're so proud of. We're not reading it in the paper, we're not seeing on the news where they're breaking their cars, selling on campus, sex abusing a young lady. And you know that now it's the time. If you want the son to grow up around character and have character instilled in him, in these HBCUs, whether it's a D3, D2, or FCS caliber school, and that's something we're proud of. And I think that if we can just keep it up in the African community, we will be rewarded for that, because parents are understanding that if you want your kids around the riffraff, if you want to send them around all their people, they might be poor, they might steal.
Hey, Johnny T, you breaking up Johnny T real bad, man. We can't even understand what you're saying. Hey, and if you can get close to that landline, we'd greatly appreciate it. We got another call away, brother.
Okay, take the other call. I'm gonna try to get the landline.
Yeah, see, they want to hear themselves talk.
Hey, Coach. Hey, we got
Coach, we got to teach everybody. So the administration, the damn fans, the call-ins. See, all this is new, Coach Campbell. All this is new.
Calling with the last
four. You can't have the phone up when you're talking on. It's tape recorded, so you can hear yourself tomorrow.
Hey. Caller with the last 46660. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Coach Cole and Coach Keaton.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Go right ahead,
Coach,
sir.
Calm down, son. Calm down, Coach. Calm down. I turned all my volume down, so you always trying to clown. First of all, I want to tell you congratulations on your situation. The other thing I wanted to say is I enjoyed the show. To the other gentleman, the other coach from, I think it was Lane, he reminded me of our years at PV when we didn't have too much, Coach Campbell. And I kind of felt the urge of trying to figure out how to send him some fun to his program because he reminded me of how it felt at Prairie View when we were not winning a lot of games. So, Coach Campbell, that's the reason we're so excited at PV, because we didn't win a lot of games before. But to the coach at Clark, I wanted to ask, is there a way to get with one of the gentlemen or the gentleman and see if we can connect you with one of my sisters? She has a trucking company in Atlanta, to try to see if they can provide you or the football team with some funds also. So again, I think sometimes, we kind of come across kind of comically, but when there is a need, I think we ought to come a calling. So even though, don't tell Coach Bubba that I'm trying to send money to another university, but I did think of the previous gentleman who was just saying 20 scholarships. So when you have these teams like Florida A&M and TSU talking all that trash about Prairie View, when you didn't have no scholarships, that's why y'all were beating. But now that we got scholarships, just way back and see what happens. So I just wanted to know, how do we go about trying to support those schools that need funds? And I'll just sit back and listen.
Well, you can send me an email at tkeaton@cau.edu.
Go
Hold on,
ahead,
Coach. Say that one more time, Coach.
That's my new theme music Coach Rocky put together for me. So that's letting me know we didn't hit the jackpot. So it's T Keaton, that's KEATON at CAU.edu. If you send me an email, yeah, you can put it up, Coach.
I can put it. I'll put it up there for you, Coach. Just so if anybody wants to donate and support, you can make sure that they get pointed in the right direction. I'm grabbing it right now.
See, Coach, you got to understand my position on this show is to do exactly that. Because I challenge all these HBCU, and like I said, these are big money folks. They brag about their degrees, got more degrees than their mama's ovens, got these big nice houses. But Coach, when you guys come on here, I challenge these guys to support you. Because like I say, Coach, the only way you're gonna be great is if we help you be great. That's on us.
Ain't no doubt about it.
So that's the reason why I always say, and I appreciate that you say, hey, I'm going to work for mine. But I'm going to tell you something, Coach, we got to help you. We got to make your life easier too. Because like you said, you doing all this stuff. But if somebody, like you said, you're giving out your information, and again, I'm going to keep pushing this. Support these coaches. Because if this coach, think about what this coach is saying. He gets this team undefeated, 10-1. Look at how that's going to help university and bring in the money to the university and things like that. So let's give him a helping hand to get him started. Because again, we go support all these other folks, but we don't support our own. We go to all these white folks games and watch them on TV and things like that, but we don't support that. So Coach, I'm always going to every coach that comes on here. The first thing I ask them, one of the first things I ask them is, how can we get you money? So that's why we always do that, Coach.
Well, I appreciate everybody that wants to help, wants to support. And, to clarify my statement, I always say nobody wants to pour into an empty vessel.
Absolutely.
So if I give them something to be able to be proud about, I believe CAU got a lot of money. There's a lot of people around that wants to do what they need to do for CAU. But if we can figure out a way to muster up ways to win ball games, I think that people will start pouring in money to support something. We got some beautiful things going on at Clark Atlanta University. As I said, Clark Atlanta University is a vibe. We just need to figure out a way to get their football program on the right track and get them in position to be able to get some of that money.
Last question. Last question I have, and then we have a caller, Coach. As Clark being recognized as a elite learning institution in the HBCU sector, I know my friends at Prairie View always says that it's difficult to recruit to Prairie View because we have academic standards that all students at Prairie View must meet. Do you find that to be the same case at Clark Atlanta with everybody? Some guys may be a athletic fit, but may not be an academic fit.
Now, I might get laughed at when I say this. I look at recruiting as that's a level of confidence. It's just like the girl you choose. If you don't have the confidence to go up and choose that girl, then guess what? You go get what where your confidence level at. I think there's a lot of kids out there now that come from two-parent homes, college-educated people, that you can find kids that press academics and education as a priority in their household. And I've been able to find those kids with 3.4s, 3.3s that can get in school somewhere. I just think you got to go identify those kids and are solid football players. And I think the biggest part about coaching an institution like these is that you got to have coaches that can develop those kids and take them to another level because their intellect is already there. They can swallow it up, suck it up off the board, get everything you need to get. Their learning curve is a lot smarter. But I think that the biggest part is having the coaches that, that's why I go with the older guys. They had to teach. A lot of these younger coaches now, they still live in the microwavable world that they feel like because I play on Madden and EA Sports that I still don't understand that I need to go to a clinic or I need to go sit down with somebody to know how to develop a kid holistically and teach them what to do, how to do it, and why it's important for them to do it that way. And also having a full understanding of the institution that you're bringing them to. I don't bring kids to an institution that I know he's going to instantly fail at. So after my conversation with the English teacher, I noticed I didn't say the football coach, but the English teacher or the people that she don't care nothing about football. All she knows is what he's like as a person. When you go have that conversation with those people, they'll tell you if that kid can academically satisfy what you're trying to accomplish, because it doesn't do you any good if you can't keep them eligible, because retention is a big part of success.
Well, like I say, Adrian Cook, I just want to address this. He said it takes a 2.8 to go to Prairie View. I'm just going to say this. When my daughter was admitted to Prairie View back in 2021, it was significantly higher GPAs that were required.
Rocky, let me, because I want you to get to call. Okay, first of all, every school, let me clarify that, because I'm going to use a FAMU. Every school has a minimum requirement. So the minimum requirement to get in might be 2, but that does not mean that they're going to get admitted when you have people, and I'll use FAMU to have 30,000 people with 3.9s that are applying for it. So the minimum is 2.5, but to get in is a 3.9. So it's the same thing with Prairie View. So yes, the minimum to get in on the paper, but if you've got 20,000 students that all have 3.5s, guess what they're going to do? They're going to get the 3.5 kid. So let's move on from that. Go ahead, let's get the calls, man.
All right. Caller with the last 40034. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner. Caller, you're live on.
Hello?
Yeah, we're right here, Coach.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, my name is Coach LC Cole.
Hey, what's
How
up,
you guys
Coach?
doing?
What's up?
Hey,
Good.
not much. You guys doing a good job. Just keep it going. I work for Coach Keaton. He's a hellraiser, but he's a good coach. And I think we got the cart going in the right direction. And the guys here talking about good coaches, and they're right. Good coaches know how to work every facet of a program. I was a equipment guy myself, so I understand all the things that they're talking about. But I'm just want to talk about is, you guys are talking about how can HBCUs, fundraisers get money and everything like that. I think we got to start looking how modern day football is moving in different conferences. And sometimes you just can't keep all the teams that don't want to, support their programs. And I look at, I'll say I look at the SWAC conference. They need to just take certain black schools out of there that wants to put money into the program, from the MEAC and all around who want to put money into the program. And sometimes you got to leave some programs behind if they don't want to support and move in that direction. If you look at the HBCUs, that's what they're doing. They're cornering the market with TV contracts and all that and everything like that. If we don't move and put the best together, we're gonna suffer. And that's what I see. I hate to say you call it I don't care what you call it your All-American Black League, that you get your top black schools with, and at least you got to have 100 people in the band, because that's part of it when you're talking about black college football, is the band too. Them ones that like Mississippi Valley, I hate to see, they need to move down to Division II or non-scholarship. I mean, it's a couple other schools that are like that, but the FAMU, the Tennessee State, the Jackson State, Hampton, them schools can get together and have a Black All-American Conference. And I'm going to tell you something, TVs will buy that.
Absolutely. I completely agree. But Coach Cole, let me ask you this, Coach. Who's going to accept being the doormat of the conference? Somebody has to be.
Well, what do you mean by doormat? Because when you talk about FAMU, you're talking about Jackson State, you're talking about Tennessee State, you're talking about Howard, North Carolina A&T, South Carolina State. You're talking about your top schools. If you see what I'm talking about, them top schools right there. You can have 10. We got 10 good black schools you can put together.
Somebody has to, what I'm saying is somebody has to be Duke. Somebody has to be Duke and Northwestern, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say, right now all of them Duke, because ain't none of them good, but
see,
that
Texas
really
Southern would be
North Carolina Central, and Jackson State was good. Tennessee State, I don't know, they fell off. But you got to put it together somehow. You got to put it together, and you got to move in that direction.
See, Texas
but think about this.
Be a Duke because they live there in the big city.
Yeah, Texas Southern was good, Duke.
We got money, and we get our
and
ass
you want to keep Texas Southern in because you want the TV market down there in Texas. And I just think we got to do something to get the conferences for people to want to go to it, and I think if you did that and you got that band, I'm telling you now, you can make some money. See, right now these classics are falling off. They don't have the same classics way back when all the black schools are playing the 100 black man class that won it in and out. All these classes don't fell off that used to have big crowds and black schools used to make that money. There's not very many classes left anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
you got
the one thing
schools, you got schools like Miles College. I think Miles College got over 100 people in the band, and I think their school would make a commitment. You know what I'm saying? So that's some of those things. Man, appreciate you, bro, calling in, giving us your expertise. I think that's a conversation that we definitely can have, and maybe get some athletic directors on. And Coach Keaton, definitely you can speak from a coach's standpoint of view because you've been in those rooms.
I think that's a great idea. We talk about it all the time. I think that there's an opportunity for us to create our own space, create our own lane, create our black media, and the people that want to support us will support us. I think there's a lot of people out there that will, but I think a lot of people have been pushed to support the major schools in their states. And I hate to hear kids talk about, well, I didn't go to a HBCU, y'all football is garbage, different things of that nature there. But the reason why we're garbage is, let's just call it for what it is. Segregation happened, and that was the end of football for us.
You mean integration, Coach? You mean integration?
Integration, whatever it is, it happened, and we got lost in it.
Well, Coach, I agree with you guys wholeheartedly, right? But I also want to say this, Coach, as a fan, and I'm the fan here that has no real connection to HBCUs except for paying my daughter's tuition. So that's my connection. But what I want to say is there's something so special about HBCU culture and HBCU football, right? The people and the stories of the people involved. If we could just get that told by our media people, right? Because the stories are compelling. When you talk about the history of this conference, and then you connect that to the players who are playing in the conference now, and we can know their stories the same way we know those stories of other guys who played in, Power 5 conferences or whatever, that's what's missing. There's not a cadre of media people committed to telling our stories about our universities. And that's the difference, because our people all day long and twice on Sunday identify with the stories, identify with the people within the HBCU culture. And it's something that can be truly special if we are able to market and promote the football and the people the way they should. The same way that we're showcasing you here, Coach, is the same way that should be done on much larger platforms and even nationally in some cases.
Rocky, I think the biggest start that's happening here is hiring better commentators, people who do their homework when they commentate. You'll catch us on a ESPN live stream, and no disrespect to the guy that's from Howard. I don't even like to say his name because him and Tiffany does an okay job, but they're not even prepped for the game. They don't know what's going on. They don't know nothing about the team. Maybe they had their conference phone call with them. They got to spend a little bit more time with it. I think HBCU Go is taking the right steps by finding formal coaches who can follow the game, understand the coaches, call you ahead of time so they can know what's on the roster, study the pregame. Those are people who's serious about it. When we watch CBS, sometimes I hated the old guy that was on there because he was like a guy that was ill-prepared. He just showed up on Saturday to call a game. But when you heard the ESPN game day crew, they gave you a breakdown of what's going on. That's the stuff that we need to get more into, that at least the coaches could be marketable, because there's a lot of good. Brian Brown that you guys just talked to, Brian Brown, he's a really good football coach. And when you break him down and understand the route that he took to get there, the storyline that goes along with that, those are things that can be talked about. And I think that even as ADs, they need to get off their behind and get up. And when they got HBCU Go, you have an opportunity to sell that that advertisement to make money for your program. But we'll have a game that's live streamed, and we're too lazy to go out and sell the advertisement for it.
Coach, now
I'm
you're
just
talking,
talking about
Coach.
what I'm talking. I'm
Now
just
you're
talking about
talking.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now you're
Coach,
talking.
any more calls?
Yeah, we got a couple more. We got caller 8623. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Coach Cole and Coach Keaton.
Shout out my dad, Coach Cole. Just wanted to say hey to him before I went to bed.
Good.
Love you,
Good
Dad.
night, sweetheart. She's a first year teacher. So thank you, baby, for calling in and supporting your dad. Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do as a teacher and an educator in shaping the young minds here in Texas.
Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you. We got one more. We got Baton Rouge J. Baton Rouge J, you're live on HBCU Coach's Corner.
Hey, what's up, fam? I love what y'all doing, man. I just want to ask the coach. You know, since Deion Sanders came to HBCU football, Deion Sanders was always a fan of HBCU football. He wasn't a stranger. This man was betting to get an HBCU All-Star game in Miami before the COVID hit. But since Deion has changed to HBCU football, now you got all these other guys, Black Americans that play at PWIs, want to come coach at HBCU football. When some of them wouldn't dare come to the HBCU football game, they'll go to Division II PWI game before they come to the SWAC. Now, like Chris Dishman, let's call it what it is. These guys willing to come to HBCU football that Deion Sanders came. We need to hire within. Forget about these. I mean, if they want to come as assistant coaches and bring in knowledge, but we don't need these guys as head coach. We need the guys that have been in HBCU, give them a chance to coach and get their name out there and let them grow and teach other guys. These guys coming from these PWIs, all of a sudden now you got instant HBCU football, give you money and coach as an assistant. I'm out.
Well, I'm gonna comment on that. I think you're absolutely correct. But here's the thing. I think everybody has good intentions. Sometimes they do. And I think a lot of guys look at it as a fast track to be able to get a head coaching job and put themselves in the market. And the first time somebody come into these places, they're going to move on with the money of the check. They need an opportunity. And we're the only people that will do this. If I tried to go to Alabama, I remember having a vivid conversation with some Division I Power 5 guys and asked them, how could I get to that level? They have all these different platforms when you go to AFCA and you go sit in those rooms. And I asked the question. He said, well, you know, you're a head coach now at the Division II level. You would have to start all the way over at the bottom. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that ain't necessarily true for Black college football because he ain't even got to coach NAIA football. He just could go call a SWAC school and show he interested because I think that some people are looking at the fact of what type of money, like the institutional advancement person is in on the conversation and say, look at the branding we're going to get. It's going to bring all kind of money, but it ain't really thinking about it. So sometimes you ask yourself, are you really interested in football or how much money can you make off the football program with that person at the helm of it?
But Coach, let's look at all that on his face. I get sick and freaking tired of, well, if we hire this guy, he played with the Colts. Oh, all this money gonna pour in. It don't happen. What you said, Coach Keith, you gotta win. You gotta win. Ain't nobody investing in a losing program. It just ain't happening. You know, well, we don't have that type of branding where, oh, here come, you know, oh, this big guy played in the Super Bowl. Can he coach? Can he develop kids? Can he win?
You know what I'll say is this, and I'll say this in any day.
It sounds good, but
your resume as a player cannot win you one game as a coach. And I don't care what level you played on, what level you played on. What I will say is this. It's something to be said if a guy wins at NAIA and he goes to Division III, and then he wins at Division III, and then he goes to Division II. and then he wins at Division II, right? Then he goes to Division I. I think that's a progression that we all understand that guy has the sauce. He has the formula. He has the ingredients, right? Why in Black college football do administrators, and let's talk about guys who are administrators, think that you can shortcut all that experience there and just add water and have you, and I'll let Mr. Campbell answer this if he want to. Why do they think they can just add water to whether it's a guy who is a former football player, NFL football player, or a guy who was a position coach at a Power 5 or a Group of 5 school?
Well, here's what I'll say. I think we talk about this, but Damon Wilson did what you said. He coached at a lower level. He coached at a high level at Bowie, moved up to Morgan State. Chennis Berry did that, coached at a high level, coached at Benedict, moved up to South Carolina State. So I think we see these things, and I think we do have guys coming up through the ranks. Because I'm just going to tell you something. Coach Keaton go get that thing, and I'm going to tell you this right now. He gets that thing because of where Atlanta is. He gets that thing rocking and rolling CAU. He ain't going to be there long. He's not. So there are coaches that are like him that are sitting.
So I just think, again, that's just what happens. You know, I just think that's what happens.
I'm going to touch on some, Rocky, what Zach just said there. Kalen DeBoer is that guy. But we're talking about at a white institution, that's the way they think. Public does. They're finding the next hot guy. But at our Black institution, a guy can show up, hadn't coached nothing, and just show up and get a job. I mean, I'm talking about had he been an assistant, don't even understand how the organization run, don't even understand how to go into the financial aid department and put a financial aid package together, because he ain't never had to do none of that. He don't know none of that stuff. He don't even know where to start in the admissions process because somebody got him in school. They got helpers to do all those things. So you can't tell me those people go, you know, and from my understanding of people that I knew at Jackson State, I don't want to speak on the man because I don't know the man well enough to be talking about it, but they say the prime was never there anyway. And you know, he hired guys around him, and he was a CEO of the organization, and he got those guys, and those guys still don't get credit for what the work that they did because they understood Black college football. That's what Prime was a genius at.
Look at Tennessee State, one of the best Black college football programs in the history of HBCU. We hired a guy off the couch and gave him $400,000, coach. And he ain't even won 5, 6 games in a season. You know what I mean? And when he hired, people was knocking folk down to take a picture with him. You know what I'm saying? Coach, it just blows my mind that we continue to do this over and over again, man. And buying this, we sold on this delusion that these people gonna come in. Here's the crazy part about it. And look, they ain't hired me nowhere. I'm gonna say it anyway. Do you think a principal of an elementary school could be the president of a university and be successful? Most chances he not, unless he's like you just said. He was successful at that elementary. He moved to a middle school. He moved to a high school. He moved to a smaller university because he has the formula. It's simple. That's why 75, 80% of the coaches are losers. 75, 80% of head football coaches are losers. They don't have the formula. They're trying to get there and figure it out. And if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Well, you guys, and I'll ask you this, Coach. This is a question for either the head coaches on the staff, because I've never been a head coach of a college or anything. So how do you know? What do you guys evaluate when you're hiring assistant coaches of whether or not they have the formula to even lead their position group or coordinate special teams, defense, or offense? What do you guys look for to see if those guys have the sauce or the formula?
Well, I'm gonna talk first since I'm already in that position. I really pay attention to people on down the road. There's high school coaches that I got notes on right now. There's other coaches at other colleges that I've watched how they recruited. Now I just never been in a room with them to see how they X and O. You can judge a person by their position that they coach, But see, I learned something by being with Coach Cole that Coach Cole can go coach every position on his defense. The secondary, the linebackers, the D line. So there might be a guy named the D line coach, but he might not necessarily be the guy who's executing what's happening there. So now you got to bring him in a room and put him on the board and see if he understands how to teach a guy. Because let me tell you something about putting that pen in somebody's hand and putting them on that board and finding out what they truly know and then teaching them the levels of how they're going to teach that. What's your A, B, and C? What's your teaching progression? How do you go about doing that? Those guys there are the guys that would definitely, you have to pay attention to those guys and know what they bring to the table. And I think that you see this in PWIs as well now. You see guys who get named as the offensive coordinator, but never call the play. And then when they actually get in a position and have to call the plays, they completely suck because you got to pay attention to, did they really call the plays? Did they really organize the offense? Did they really coach those guys up to be who they needed to be? And that's only over time or a body of work. And the only way you're going to know is you basically got to put them on the board and figure out who they are.
So Coach, you mean to tell me when you're evaluating coaches, you don't look at the university they went to, what fraternity they pledged, or what's their hometown?
I don't care nothing about that. I don't care nothing about their pedigree or none of that stuff there. What I care about is it's about a chemistry. It's about a feeling in that room. You got to know if they mess with the other coaches. You got to also understand that I'm probably one of few coaches that's, as a head coach, I let my two coordinators hire the people that they want to work with because they know what they're trying to install. I'm going to be in that room when they interview those people, and I'm going to make sure that they perfectly fit because I can get along with everybody. And I think sometimes head coaches become bad managers when they try to get into the weeds of things instead of letting the people who doing the work actually be the work. Because truly on a college football team or a pro football team, your two coordinators are going to be the people who are going to make or break you as a head coach.
Just to piggyback, I think I'm kind of more like Nick Saban. How many coaches Nick Saban run through? He going to run his program. This is the program. You either fit in or you don't fit in. And if you don't fit in, I'm going to fire you if you don't fit in. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to wear pants on the hips. We ain't going to wear flip-flops. We're going to show up on time. We're going to go to class. We're going to do what and if you don't like that as a coach, I'm going to recognize that if I've hired you, and I'm going to fire you. I'm not afraid to fire coaches. I'm not afraid to make those decisions. What Coach Keaton said is true. You do want to look at coaches, but part of the system that we run is you as a coach going to have to come in and get on the board and be able to explain to me and explain to the coordinator, if you're not, how you teach in your class, how you teach as a coach. You're not going to come in and you're not going to rah guys and all that. I'm going to find that out and I'm going to see that out and I'm going to get it. And we're going to start with discipline. So that's kind of the things that I think as a head coach that you got to have. You got to have a systematic way of doing it.
Mr. Campbell, I want to bring you in this conversation for this reason, because you've been someone who has often mentored me on HBCU football and HBCU ball culture. You've been a historian about this. And a lot of times when I first came in and started paying attention, I'm like, why is that guy the coordinator? And it would often be said, oh, that's the head coach's frat brother. Oh, they were line brothers. Oh, they both from this town. Was I looking at that the wrong way? Or is that something that actually is going on within the confines of HBCU coaching ranks?
Well, I'm going to say this, and I think we're in a transition. And Coach Cole's
be real.
Yeah, no, but I'm going to say something because I'm going to use Coach Gordon's staff. Look at how many head coaches came out of Coach Gordon's staff that were successful. That were real football coaches. WC Gordon for Jack State.
Yeah.
Look how many coaches came out of Rob Broadway's staff that went on to be successful. So you have to have a mentor to make you a great coach. Coach Keaton talked about people that mentored him. So my thing is, we had a lull way. We had these giants that were retiring. And then the guys that would have stayed and coached with them, guess what? They went to Power 5 schools. They became coordinators over there. They became defensive back coaches over there. So we had a big brain drain for the last 20 years, to be honest with you. Now we've got people like Coach Oliver, Coach Keaton, Coach of Morgan State. Willie Simmons was there. Young guys that are coming in, Chennis Berry, that are now going to start to create their own coaching trees. But we got to have that. But I want to ask Coach Keaton this, because this is the thing that I have been talking about. And I'm not going to say your AD coach because it wouldn't be fair to you to comment on your AD. But how many other coaches have you talked to that are friends of yours in the industry and their AD knows nothing about sports? Do you hear a lot of that?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Coach.
I don't understand. They
See,
don't
this is
understand what to look for.
Okay, so now you're going to get to my point where I've been trying to explain to everybody. When we were coming through, the majority of the ADs actually coached.
That's right.
So they knew what to look for in a coach because they actually did it. Right. So and then what they also were able to do was to mentor the coach. Hey, how many times the coach had coached there? He retired. He said, "Okay, now you're coming in, Coach Keith. Let me tell you about these fools at Florida A&M. But I'm gonna tell you how it is. I'm going to help you, but I also know you're a great coach because I know what a great coach is. Our ADs now are business people. They're business people. And so when it's time for them to go hire coaches, they don't know any coaches because they're not coaches. So how can you have a short list of coaches when you don't even know what to look for as a coach because you never coached? So then, one quick thing, Coach, I'm going to let you jump in because I think you're going to get to this point. So what happens is they got to go to people. Who do you think? Who do you know? You got to know what you know. You can't constantly get information from other people because you don't know what that. Now I'm going to your point, Rocky, because someone say, "Yeah, hi, my frat brother. Hi, my boy. He's good." When you're a coach, another coach knows a great coach. All right, Coach, I wanted to give it back to you.
I'm gonna take some. Zach said something else here. There's a guy on Coach Trey Oliver's staff named Matt Leone, who was my quarterback coach at Weber International University. Now, let me tell you the story about how I became an offensive coordinator. That kid there was the quarterback who played quarterback at Weber, spent a lot of time mentoring me on the passing game. And I wasn't a great offensive coordinator at first. I became a great offensive coordinator because of Melvin Pete, Matt Leone, Mike Hayes. Those guys mentored me because I was honest with myself. And I stripped down my shirt and said, yes, I have the coordinator role, but I ain't as good as you guys because you do it every day. And I think a lot of young coaches don't have that mindset. Matt Leone should be on somebody's list as a football coach because when you talk about just a pure ball coach, and that shows you I'm not prejudiced at all. I just think a coach is a coach. And if they can get a job done, they can get it done. And if you watch Matt Leone coach at North Carolina Central today, and you watch how he's mentored the quarterback that he has there, and he done it under with Chennis Berry at Southern, and he mentored some of those quarterbacks that was there, and done an awesome job. And I don't. That's free publicity that I don't get paid for. But there's guys, the defensive coordinator that's on Coach Oliver's team. He's another guy that's could be an absolutely great candidate of being a head coach. But those guys get overlooked, and nobody bring those guys up or say anything about them because they really don't know or they're not paying attention to the people that really could help their organizations. Help me understand now. That guy's a good football coach there. He started with me. I inherited him. He became the coordinator after I became, and I watch him every Saturday at Trey Oliver's spot, and I watch them. Boy, does he does a really good job with his team. Ask yourself that question. Does he do a really good job with that team?
Absolutely. And with Davius Richards, he was outstanding when you talk about production. Now, I don't know, one thing about when you have an athletically dominant quarterback, some of the coaching aspects of coaching that player is often overlooked because of his athletic prowess. But when you look at the results and the production and the schemes and the big games they won, you have to give the coaching staff credit at NCCU for winning all those big games and that massive production that Davius Richards had.
Coach, did you watch him against Jackson State and how he
Yes.
masterminded that last drive and they put it together? I mean, my hat was off. I was so proud of him as a coach because that's orchestration now. That's not and Coach Cole has done a lot of those things when he was coaching at Tennessee State. You saw some drives that were put together that you looking at like, wow, that guy really know what he's doing. And it really shows you, can a guy coach under pressure? When you in those type moments and the game is on the line and you got to get 8 plays out of your hat and you got to make sure they purely executed. Come on now. That ain't all just on the kid. That's the coach believing in what he know and have taught them all week, all year, how to execute in those type of moments, in those situations.
Coach, that's funny that you said that because I brought that up to Coach Oliver when he was on the show about that drive that you're talking about. Because I'm sitting in the stands and I'm seeing him scheming, putting his players in the position to make plays where his player always had the advantage. So it's amazing that you said that because we pointed that out when Coach Oliver was on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Coach, man, look, go ahead, Coach.
No, I was just going to say, and your mention of, I respect you being able to know another great offensive mind because you mentioned Willie Simmons maybe an hour ago. And that's somebody that I'm sure Coach Campbell knows definitely is a great offensive mind.
No, but they're all descendants of people like Coach Cole. I mean, we don't give Johnny Cole the credit and the flowers that he needs, that they really deserve now. If you really football coaches and you study the game to be a great football coach, like I said, Melvin P., Johnny Cole, those guys grew up and their offenses they were doing things in the game that most people wasn't even thinking about doing. Their innovation, he called it the hobo offense. Those guys would go to games. I sat in those stands at Alabama State on Turkey Day Classic, and I watched those guys move and maneuver ball games down the field and beat people. And that's what we're missing at black college football. If you really want to know the truth about we got a lot of excellent defensive coordinators, but we don't have a lot of strong offensive-minded teams, which makes our brand not really what people want to go see because they can't see the offenses. They raggedy. They not well put together. They fumbling the ball. They don't work the mesh drill. They block it up front is bad because it's hard to find an O-line coach that can actually get the job done. So there's a lot of things that make you don't want to watch black college football, but it all started from the person you hired as your head coach who wanted to bring his buddy in from down the street because they played high school ball together, which don't allow us an opportunity to grow as an organization.
That's right. Well, look, Coach, I know you got to get up at 4, man, but I know you love this, and we love you for coming on and sharing your expertise, man, and I look forward to, in 2 weeks, I'll see you guys, getting on, taking on the Wildcats. We got Coach Gibbs coming on tomorrow, as well as Coach T.C. Taylor, and we got a lot of content and a lot of things to talk about, and some things that hopefully we can get this off the ground and we probably can take this to another level as far as doing some clinic stuff and in person and hanging out as black coaches, maybe somewhere and doing some clinic stuff and really promoting ourselves because if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. And we got to try to secure these jobs that we have to make sure they go to the right places. Thank you, Coach, man. And
appreciate
your son gonna wake you up. He gonna wake you up in the morning, Coach. He gonna be like, Coach Keaton, we ready to roll.
That's right. I probably traded him right now, so he has to get up at 5 and go to his trip. So he's gonna be like, Daddy, where you going? And guess what I'm gonna say? I'm headed to football practice. Can I go?
And he got to go to school.
He got to go to school, buddy.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed one, man.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
And I look forward to hearing from you after that victory in Atlanta in 2 weeks, Coach. Try to see if you can come back on just for about 5 minutes after that game. We'd love to have you back, Coach.
Thank you, my
Well,
brother.
I'll definitely be there, so maybe we can make that happen on my cell phone.
All right, got you.
Hey, y'all have a good one.
You too.
Hey, Coach.
Right, take care, Coach. Woo, coaches, guys. Woo.
Yeah.
Man, we've been at it.
We've been at it. And Coach, we got one more day, Coach. We got one more big day. And I want to, before we get out of here, I want to promote this because there's a lot of people that's been asking us for the big dogs, Coach. They're asking us for the big dogs, and you know, Coach, you aim to please. And so I'm gonna let y'all know, if y'all hadn't already seen the promotion, if y'all hadn't already seen let me bring it up now. Who's gonna be on tomorrow? Let me get it here. Let me get it up. I got it.
Hello?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we going, hey, caller, you're live on there. You may as well go ahead and do it while I'm getting this ready. Caller, you're live on HBCU Coach's Corner, man.
Oh.
Go ahead, Coach Pell.
Go ahead, Coach Pell. I was gonna ask the other coach that just left off your panel, where Coach Danzy at? I met him at Alcorn, and he was about I guess he was about 60 years old then, and I'm 68, and the other coach.
He passed away. He passed away several years ago.
Coach Danzy.
Yeah, he passed away several years ago. Yeah, several years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, Coach Danzy, he was a good man. But I called to say, Rocky, you got to put that stuff to bed about the NFL coaches, because they come in there and say, what's the last player you had drafted to the NFL? Coach Eddie Robinson put more people in the NFL, and he never set foot in the NFL. Coach Marino Casson, he never set foot in the NFL, but he sent buku people in the NFL. But that stuff about the NFL players, you got one of the best coaches on your panel right now. If I had a kid and he was head coach, I would send him to there, because he can tell the kid his future and his past. He can tell the player his history. And when a player, he has to know his history before he can come to the light, right? And I hope Johnny Cole get a head coaching position, because the youth in the world need him. They need a man like him, because they got to know the history. And I'm 68 years old, but I go back to about 100 years, because my daddy and my granddaddy
I got the knowledge of them because they put it in my head. And in order for the black youth can go forward, you have to know your past. And once they know the past, he can pass it on to his generation. And they pass it on to his generation. Because the old man, he has a library in his head. These people now, they thinking about the money. They not thinking about the black race, the people that you're supposed to be taking care of. When I send a kid to a university, he's looking for guidance and direction. These people now, they looking for likes on Instagram, likes on Facebook, but they not looking for the kid. They're not looking for the kid. I'm gonna tell you a story, Rocky, and I put 5 guys in the NFL. I had a stroke about a year and a half ago. I put 5 people in the NFL. I had one guy, he was the #1 recruit in the entire nation. And I had the guy finish #1 as a receiver in 2000. I had the fastest guy in the major league in 2006, 2004 to 2006. I had a gold medal winner from Trinidad Tobago, all off a mail truck. All off a mail truck. You don't have to have NFL experience, but you have to love the kid, love what you're doing, and God's gonna put that vision in your head, and you got to when God put that vision in your head, you got to tell that vision. You got to relate it to the players.
Hey, Coach Pep. Coach Pep, we appreciate you calling in. We trying to wrap it up. We trying to put Coach Cole to bed tonight, somewhat on time. We working a little overtime, and his overtime rate is pretty high, Coach. So I want to thank you for calling in, Coach Pep, and we'll be.
I got to ask Johnny Cole one thing.
Okay, go right ahead, Coach.
Right? All right. Johnny Cole.
Yes, sir.
When you get the next job, Texas Southern, all right, what's your vision? What your vision is for that program right now? If you had that job, what your vision would be for Texas Southern right now?
Well, Coach, because it's a repeated job, we would win instantly. You know, I wouldn't wait on 3 years. I would be able to come in there. I really feel with some of the players they have and the people that I know that we could win, you know, right off the top because of the expectations. I think my reputation precedes itself, and that that I could get in there with all this new way of football, and now that you can get transfers and transfer people in, I think it would be a slam dunk for me at this point in time with that program.
I got a son that coaches at Langston University, head coach at Langston University. Mm-hmm. I would like for y'all to invite him on there.
Okay, that's no problem. I've talked with him before. He was interested in getting the Texas Southern job, and I was kind of sharing with him the avenues of that position. So we spoke before.
Although he at a NAI school, but he's the winningest coach in the HBCU right now. He got to about 65 wins and 18 losses.
Yeah. No, I'm very aware. I'm very aware. Is that your son, you say?
Yeah.
Well, I'm very aware of who he is.
Quentin Morgan.
Yeah. We spoke before. Matter of fact, we spoke last year before they hired the guy they hired. So yeah, I've spoken with your son before, and he has my number. He has my number.
And only thing he had to do is call, Coach.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hey, Coach Pep, thank you so much for contributing to the show. We certainly appreciate you calling each and every day. We're gonna wrap up the show right now, but and tell you what guests we got on tomorrow. Hey, Coach Cole.
Yes, sir.
You done it again. Now, and I'm gonna say y'all collaborated on this one, Coach. Y'all collaborated on this one. This show right here is not just all you right here, Coach. Cause we got a Jacksonian. I hope that's what they said. They call it. We got a Jacksonian involved in the procurement of an HBCU superstar head coach. And so, if y'all would just talk to the people and tell them, how did this unfold? And we got TC Taylor on HBCU Coach's Corner.
Is that
well,
me?
Coach?
I mean,
well, it's been both. Cause what I did was, and again, I shout out to my nephew Zoe Phillips. I contacted Zoe, and I said, hey, we want to get Coach Taylor on, and he said, okay, no problem. I'll talk to Coach when I go to practice. And guess what he said? He said, well, hey, I know exactly about that because Coach Cole texted me, and I'm going to get back with him. So me and Coach Cole follow up with him, and that's why we got Coach T.C. Taylor. And I'm super excited to have him on because, like I say, as everybody knows, I'm from Jackson. Jackson State football raised me. And I want to ask him some questions that a non-Jackson State person would ask him. You know what I mean? And go back. You know, Zoe and Ken, them young boys. I'm going to go back a little bit on Coach T.C. a little bit and stuff like that. So that's what it is. And then I'm gonna let y'all have this Coach Gibbs thing because I'm sitting that one out.
hey, Coach Cole, Mr. Campbell, we wouldn't be remiss if we wouldn't bring you in on the conversation of how we got Coach Sean Gibbs on the show. You know, can you tell us about that, Coach Campbell?
Hey man, y'all want them all. You know, listen on the HBCU Coaches Corner. With Coach Johnny Cole, we bring on all the coaches. We bring on the people that people want to hear. And Coach Gibbs is a up-and-coming great coach down at Fort Valley State. He has an outstanding resume. He comes from outstanding. We talked about coaching trees earlier, right? He comes from one of those outstanding coaching trees. So what do? We bring the people because he is vying for that title at the SIAC. I believe they are the favorites or one of the favorites. And we want to see what they're going to do next year. And if anything else happens to come up in discussion, we'll let it come up.
All right. Hey, Coach, I just wanted to show everybody this. If you go to the link I just posted in the chat and you want to make sure you don't miss these interviews, just go click that link and make sure you click notify me and you will get a notification 30 minutes before we go live, and you'll certainly get a notification once we go live. Also, while you're on that page, it don't cost you nothing to go down there and like and subscribe. So, Coach Cole, with no further ado, almost 3 hours in, Coach.
Coach, we doing it. Coach. We doing it. Hey, Coach, all I got to say, man, look, as I always say, if you feel yourself at the end of the road, tie a knot and hold on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you. See you tomorrow, same time.